in the sauna. In the garage was our Project Rally car, or at least all of its bits. This right here is the car's chassis, and inside the garage was everything else. Panels, doors, engine block, pistons, crankshaft, fuel tank, clutch, gearbox, struts, wishbones, brakes, shock absorbers, cylinder head, T-34 85M main battle tank. Oh wait, that's not in the garage, that's in today's sponsor, World of Tanks. Gentlemen, it is time, the metamorphosis has already begun. I am the World of Tanks, the greatest tank free-to-play video game ever created with over 100 million players around the globe. Can you guess what this game is about? Tanks. Over 600 million tanks, destroyers, artillery, small, medium, and Changus. I am going to assault the French. Oh wait, maybe the Germans. Actually, no. I'm going to assault the British. I will fight them on the beaches, I will fight them in the fields, and I will fight them across the 40 battle arenas spread all over the world. Do you know how many that is? I have no idea. I lost my frontal lobe in an industrial tank accident. You would not believe me how historically accurate they made this game. Believe me. I was there. Earn experience, modify, and upgrade your tank. Finish comrade. Join me in glorious battle against the Soviet menace and defend our beautiful homeland. Download World of Tanks for free with the link in the description. Use code TANKMANIA to get 7 days of premium for free. 250,000 credits, premium tank. Tiger 131, Cromwell, and T-34 85M. Do it now, or the Finns will be defeated. Also, they release some merch, so go check that out. Right, yeah. The crankshaft, fuel tank, clutch, gearbox, struts, wishbones, brakes, shock absorbers, cylinder head, head gasket, rocker shaft, camshaft, you get the idea. Helping me build this car was nothing. I was going to try to build it without using any guides. Was this a good idea?
Anytime you're feeling good and hungry, it's Skyline time.
No. All these parts fit together in a specific, sometimes very irritating way. Just go in. Just go in. Fuck! Not to mention, each part has bolts, and the devs, thinking that screwing in hundreds of bolts would be far too easy, elected to make every single one have a size. Wait, you can't bolt this part in with the spanner? Sorry, fucko, that's the wrong spanner. Try again, sweaty. If I was going to build this car, it was going to take a long time. So, naturally, I got bored, went to bed, was woken in the middle of the night by the phone ringing, and I couldn't see shit. To make matters even worse was the most annoying character in the entire game. Bug. To get rid of Bug, I need to take a trip into town and get some mosquito spray, among some other very important items, like beer and sausages. I had two vehicles to choose from, this motorbike, which can only carry one thing at a time, or the tractor, which is really slow. 20 minutes later, I arrived in the bustling metropolis of I bought my groceries and then drove the tractor for another 20 minutes back home. Building the car was going to take a long time, so while I struggle to figure out what the hell the distributor is and why I would need it for my car, why don't we talk about engines? An engine's job is simple. Convert the chemical energy of gasoline into kinetic energy in the car. First off, we start with suck. Squeeze, bang, and blow. The 4 steps of a 4-stroke engine. The engine sucks in a mixture of fuel and air, squeezes it really tight, ignites it with a spark plug, and blows out the exhaust. A little car has 4 cylinders, each sucking, squeezing, banging, and blowing. These 4 cylinders house 4 pistons, which each connect to the crankshaft. The pistons go up and down, and the crankshaft goes round and round. The crankshaft is connected to the wheels through the clutch and gearbox. Put your foot down on the gas, the engine spins faster, the wheels spin faster, and off you go. Simple, right? Yeah, well, obviously it's not that easy, as you can clearly see by my inability to assemble the clutch. My man, it's been 30 minutes. Why can't you figure it out? No, stop fucking the car with the tractor! Next up is suspension. Now, why do we need suspension? Well, without it, things get a bit bumpy. You need suspension not only to absorb bumps in the road, but also keep the wheels in contact with it. Brakes. Probably the most simple part of the car. The brake discs are connected directly to the wheels. When you press on the brake pedal, brake pads push against the discs and convert their kinetic energy into heat. And there we go. I'd pretty much finished the car. You know, excluding the wiring, wheels, tires, brake fluid, clutch fluid, engine oil, coolant, camshaft alignment, and replacing about 15 parts that would inevitably break within 5 minutes of driving. You know, we were basically done. I retired back to the house to eat some food and drink a bit of water. But I couldn't. sausages were spoiled. In fact, all the food in the fridge was spoiled. Oh no, I'd spent so long working on the car that my house had been disconnected from the electricity for not paying in time. This could not have come at a worse time, because I had zero food, and tomorrow was Sunday. Timo's is not open on Sunday. Of course, I didn't know this, so I rode into town in a mild panic after my hunger meter had gone red. Timo, open up, I need to eat your food, Timo, open up, open up. Shit. The sun had well and truly come up, which told me that Timo's was clearly not going to open today, so I elected to ride my bike back home. On my way back, I came across the dance pavilion, which had 2 cars outside of it, blasting some funky beats. The game actually let me open the back doors of this car and climb inside, so seeing that I had nothing better to do, I gave it a go and hopped in. This was a terrible mistake. Immediately it was clear that the man driving had in fact consumed a rather large amount of alcohol prior and was driving at an alarmingly high speed with alarmingly low control. I then made an even worse decision and swore at the driver. This put him into a frenzied rage, and he immediately stomped the gas, drove straight into a tree, and died. Well, shit. The only thing I could really do was hop out and walk home. So that's what I did. Ooh. Things, however, were not looking good. Being out in the sun and running home like this was rapidly increasing my thirst. I walked for what felt like hours along the dirt track leading home, and eventually my house was just visible in the distance. I was so close to water. I reached the mailbox, looked inside to try pay the utilities, collapsed. Oh. No. And died. Attempt number 2. This attempt did not last long. I named myself drank until I blacked out, pissed on the TV, and died. Attempt 3. I gave myself the brilliant name Glorable. This time I was going to use a guide and try to build the car a little faster. The first thing the guide wanted me to do was get in the tractor and go collect some stuff. One of those stuff were these wheels inside this abandoned mansion. The wheels were on the top floor, so of course I went to the top floor, ignoring the wasp nest right above me. No! Attempt 4. I did all the same stuff as the late Glorbo, but yet again, died to the wasps, like a complete idiot. Nope. Oh my god. Fuck! Attempt 5. This time, I saw the wasp nest and managed to sneak past it without getting stung. Using the guide and some of the knowledge I had accumulated over the past 12 hours, I was able to build up the car fairly quickly. And before I knew it, the engine was in, the suspension was suspended, the panels were attached, and wiring wired. Did the car work? No. But it did in fact look like a car. All this work had been quite exhausting, so I loaded up this little boat with some supplies and took a nice relaxing trip to the island in the center of the lake. I was here for the fish trap, but also to just chill for a while and eat some sausages. That is, if I didn't burn every single one. Shit. Leaving the island, I made sure to ransack it for everything it had. This camera, lantern, coffee stuff, bucket, fish trap, and fireworks. Arriving back home, I needed to go buy yet more stuff from town, and I still only had the tractor to work with. Hopefully, this would be the last time I'd have to make this long, laborious trip. Nope. Back home, I put the final touches on the car, wired the last things, filled up the fluids, pissed in the radiator for enhanced cooling, and what do you know? It was ready to be started. I put the key in the ignition, gave it a turn, and... well, that didn't sound good. This little crunch sound had completely drained the battery, so while it was charging, I went inside to watch some TV. Soon. Attempt 2 at starting the car, and against all odds, it actually worked. Oh my god, it started! Now granted, the car was making this horrific banging sound, but it ran. This banging was caused by the camshaft gear being out of alignment. To fix it, I'd have to take the engine out, remove the cover plate, and rotate it back into alignment. But why does the camshaft need to be aligned? Remember suck, squeeze, bang and blow? This only works if these valves are correctly timed. These valves are needed to keep the air and fuel inside the cylinder during the squeeze and bang stages. The camshaft is responsible for opening and closing these valves at the correct time. One valve is for the intake and the other is for the exhaust. If they aren't timed properly, you could be intaking air through the exhaust and exhausting air through the intake. As you can imagine, not good for Mr. Car. Once the camshaft was aligned and the engine thrown back in the car, it was time to start her up again. Shit. This time, something else was broken. Of course. Taking off the valve cover, I discovered that the rocker shaft, which is what actuates the valves, was broken. To fix this, I'd need to buy a new one at Fleetari's repair shop. So I did, and threw it in the car. Oh! It runs! Ooh yeah. Ooh yeah. Ooh! Gentlemen, we had done it. Everything seemed to be working. I could even put it in gear and move. This was extremely satisfying. After working on this thing for hours and hours, it finally ran. Naturally, I gave it a quick test drive around the dirt outside the house when I drove it into a ditch, and it broke. Fuck! It was time to take our little car on its maiden voyage. I got it onto the highway and jammed the throttle all the way down. The acceleration was bad. The car topped out at just over 100 kilometers an hour, giving it a 0 to 100 time of about 60 seconds. Miraculously, I had managed to reach town without the car breaking down. So I turned her around and headed back home. This is where things went wrong. Perhaps running the car at full throttle constantly wasn't such a good idea. As I crossed the bridge near the repair shop, I heard this. That did not sound good, and the car was slowly losing power. I managed to limp a few more 100 meters before it ultimately died on the turn off to the repair shop. Taking the engine apart, I found this. A blown head gasket, and one of the pistons just missing. Luckily, I was near the repair shop, so I could easily go buy some new parts. Unluckily, it was Saturday, and the shop wouldn't be open until Monday. I could just wait, but that would take hours, so I decided to hop on the bus and take it back home. This was a terrible mistake. I left my computer running to go take a piss, only to come back to the bus humping another car. Reviewing the footage, I was horrified to see this complete Dorbus crash into the bus while on the wrong side of the road. Now this, by itself, was pretty unlucky, but what made it even worse was that this idiot had a trailer attached to his car, which had managed to get the bus perfectly stuck in the middle of the road. This is awesome. Since I was technically still moving, even if only a few centimeters per second, I couldn't get off the bus, and I couldn't leave. The only option here was to quit to menu and revert the last 3 hours of progress. Awesome. Fuck! This put us back to when the rocker shaft was broken, so once again I hopped on the bike to go get a new one. It being Wednesday, I knew that the only other person on the road leading into the repair shop was the guy in the green car. But for some reason, the road to my house was taped off, which would indicate the rally was taking place. Further up the road, my suspicions were confirmed when a rally car travelling at approximately 2% the speed of light shot past, barely missing me. Whoa. I don't know why the rally was on, it only happens on the weekend, and it was clearly Wednesday, but whatever. Now, if I had any sense, I would have gotten off the road, seeing as it was clearly pretty hazardous. But I was tired and frustrated at what had happened on the bus. So I hopped back on the road on my bike, and 5 minutes later, got completely obliterated. No! In shock, I stared at the death screen for a good 2 minutes before resigning to my fate. Disabling permadeath, naming myself, I give up, and trying again.
The drone age has begun in the large-scale military online action game War Thunder. Experience completely new gameplay by piloting recon and strike drones to hunt down your enemies from the skies. Also arriving is the iconic Su-25 Frogfoot. The dozens of rockets under its wings won't leave enemy tanks a chance. War Thunder is the highly detailed action game where you fight other players using aircraft, ground vehicles, naval vessels, and helicopters. Destruction effects have also become even...
Hello again. Welcome back to Finland. In the last video, we experienced the many wonders of Finnish culture. Building a rally car, getting very intoxicated, tractor driving, dying of dehydration, hydraulic press channel, dying for pissing on the TV, dying from giant wasps, getting into a bus, having the bus collide with another car head-on, getting stuck, reverting your progress, hopping on a motorbike and dying from a rally car smashing into you at 150 kilometers an hour. You know, normal Finnish stuff. Last video we died a lot of times, and made zero progress, because every time I died, I had to start over from the beginning. In this video, I've disabled permadeath. Trust me, this was a good idea. Today, we're gonna actually build up our rally car, and, with some luck, win the rally. Death will not stop us, but it'll definitely get in the way. So, let us begin. We began back at home, with the car ready for assembly. I got the wheels from the wasp-infested mansion, and the car was built. To get the car running, I had to buy a few more things from town. Of course, the only vehicle I had access to was the slow, not fun, very boring tractor. Normally getting to town would take it about 15 minutes. However, I got into town significantly faster because of this. The train. Disabling permadeath was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life, because if I had to build the car again, things would have gone down very differently. I woke up in the graveyard in town, bought the battery I needed, and pondered how to get home. Our best option was getting a ride from the guy in the green car. My cousin. Pena. This is a man that has nothing better to do than drive along the dirt road at ridiculous speeds, 24 hours a day, one hand on the wheel, and the other on the vodka. Definitely someone I'd like to climb into a car with. Now, if you were being driven home by a raging alcoholic, do you think swearing at him would be a good idea? Shortly after giving him the finger, he stomped the gas, accelerated to a very high speed, launched the car at 100 kilometers an hour directly into a tree, and we both died. Maybe swearing at him was not such a good idea, so this time I let him drive me home at a much more reasonable 60 kilometers an hour. But you know what can go a lot faster than 60 kilometers an hour? The F-14 Tomcat from today's sponsor, War Hunter. I mean War Thunder. That's right, boyos, the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever created. 2,000 vehicles, tanks, aircraft, helicopters, and... Oh no. Combined arms warfare. What does that even mean? I have no idea. It's either multiple modes of combat within the same battle space, or something to do with Siamese twins. Every single vehicle is detailed and modeled down to the smallest detail. Health bars? No. You fool. You idiot. You moron. Every component is deeply modeled. Oh no, my tracks have been shot. Oh no, my turret can't rotate. Oh no. I'm dead. War Hunter, I mean War Thunder, offers the most immersive possible combat experience. And guess what? It's free. Play it now on PC, Xbox Series XS, PlayStation 5, or any previous generation console. War Hunter, I mean War Thunder spans over 100 years of vehicle warfare. Biplanes, gunships, whatever the hell this thing is. Wait, you don't have a joystick to fly the F-14 Tomcat? Don't you worry, fucko, you can fly with a mouse. My favorite thing about War Hunter, I mean War Thunder, is the frighteningly deep knowledge within the community. Some might say too deep. Play War Thunder now on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox using my link in the description, and you'll get a bunch of free stuff, multiple premium vehicles, a premium account, boosters, and much, much more. What are you waiting for? Download today and fly a $50 million jet directly into the ground. Anyway, we were not in fact in an F-14 Tomcat, but in Penna's green car. I stopped him at the side of the tractor and hopped out to survey the damage. To make a very long, painful story short, this tractor is a fucking bastard. The very next thing I did was disconnect the tractor from the trailer, which was a terrible mistake. I fetched the bike back from home and used it to unflip the tractor with about 10 minutes of finagling. Yes! Now from here you'd think things would be easy, right? I could just simply use the tractor to flip over the trailer and then drive off. Nope. First, I tried lifting the trailer with the fork loader. It didn't work. Shit! I unflipped the tractor again. Yes! And tried ramming it. It didn't work. Stop! No! Oh my god! Another 10 minutes of finagling with the bike, and the tractor was unflipped again. What? This time, I took things a bit slower, did some maneuvering with the fork loader, and finally got the trailer flipped the right way around. And the tractor flipped over again. No! Another flip of the tractor, and another attempt. I got the trailer completely flat with the help of the tractor, and tried bumping it with a beer case to help get the wheels unstuck. What? And this happened. What? This was after 40 minutes of the same bullshit happening over and over. I'd get the trailer flat to the ground, it would spring itself back into position, and I'd be back at square one. I couldn't take it. It was time to cheat. I went back home, saved the game, installed the Grab Anything mod, and went back to the scene of the crime. It turns out this was actually a great idea. When I picked up the trailer, it behaved normally. But when I let it go, it did this. When I disconnected the trailer at the very beginning, it locked it into that orientation at that position, so when I tried to move it, it would force itself back. The only way to unlock it would be to attach it to the tractor, which was not possible with the trailer on its side. So to fix it, I grabbed the trailer, oriented it the right way round, and stuck it to the tractor. Oh my god. It worked. Back home, it was time to continue building the Satsuma, which I'd managed to get running only for one of its pistons to commit die and fire itself out of the engine. I replaced the piston and head gasket, fired up the car again, and took her for another test drive.
Oh dear!
Well, shit. Turns out the piston firing itself out of the engine also destroyed the oil pan, and the engine had no oil in it. No oil is bad. I didn't know that the oil pan had a hole in it. All I had done was check the dipstick, which read no oil, so I tried adding an entire bottle of motor oil, which went through the engine and out of the pan onto the floor. Well done. After fixing the oil pan and adding another bottle of motor oil, the car did indeed work just fine. The car worked, but my feeble little brain did not. To test the car, I decided against driving it and instead just revved the engine a bit. Enough to get the water in the radiator hot enough to where it exploded out of the cap. Oh shit. Me, being a bit of an idiot and wanting to get a better look, switched off the engine and unscrewed the cap, which, let me remind you, had a bunch of superheated steam underneath it. Oh. My eyes! Yep. I'm a fucking idiot. Now, the car could run, which is all great, but if I wanted to win the rally race in this thing, I would need to substantially upgrade it. Better tires, better wheels, a better engine, better exhaust, proper racing seats, nitrous, the list goes on. To get these upgrades, we would need money. Lots and lots of money. And me? Well, I was broke. In my summer car, there are a lot of ways of making money. Everything from chopping and delivering firewood to putting ads in people's letterboxes to illegally brewing sugar wine and selling it to the local alcoholic. One of the best jobs you can do is finding junk cars by the side of the road and towing them back to the repair shop. The first bit of junk I found was this bucket thing. The day I chose to do this wasn't exactly ideal. Saturday. The rally would be on and cars would be flying down the dirt road every few minutes. That, however, was not the issue. The issue was these guys standing by the road to watch the rally, and my, less than optimal driving. Unbeknownst to me, this action had sealed my fate. Since it was Saturday, the shop wasn't even open, so I left the junk there and drove the rest of the way home on the dirt track, where every few minutes an idiot rally driver would smash into me at incredible speed. Back home, I sleep. Today was going to be good. Today was going to be productive. Today I was going to get the bat. Oh shit. Yep. That guy I ran over earlier, he died. Well, shit. Prison. Our stay here was for 10 days. May not seem so bad, especially considering we murdered someone, but 10 days in my summer car is 20 hours. Factoring in sleep, our stay here could be as low as 15-ish hours, real time, no abusing save states, just sitting here. Damn. Okay, time's up. In prison, I had hatched a devious plan. Robbery. Timo's, a simple establishment. The grocery store on one end and the pub on the other. The pub has this inside. A slot machine. Timo lost the keys to it a while ago, so it's just been sitting there collecting cash. The plan was simple. Drive the tractor into town, smash the window with the fork, attach the machine to the fork, and violently yank it out of the store. The plan sounded good enough, and so, the heist was on. I loaded up the tractor and drove it into town in the dead of night. There, I found our victim, Timo's pub, and the slot machine inside. Unlucky for us though, were these two guys outside. So with some quick thinking, I used the tractor's fork loader and, moved them. I smashed open the window, attached the machine to the tractor, and yanked it out with ferocious anger. Yes! I took it to the sports field, laid it down on its front, pried off the back plate with a screwdriver, and began ransacking it for everything it had. Everything it had turned out to be 7,000 marks. Not bad. A celebration was in order. I popped over to Timo's and bought myself a pizza. For 2,700 marks. Somehow he knew I had broken his window and had fined me for my trouble. Prison had made me a violent, angry man. And this sent me completely over the edge. I sculled back a healthy 10 beers and began pissing and shitting all over the place. These fucking bastards had locked me up for doing basically nothing, and now they were taking what was rightfully mine. I drank more. I pissed more. I punched this guy in the head. I took the slot machine to the highway and placed it in the way of oncoming cars. I was here to tear down society. Fuck it, the rally was on. They wanted to lock me up for running over one guy? Well, how about I run over all these fuckers?
Hey, $150? There's a new account at Fidelity made for teens that let you save, spend, and invest your money your way. So whether it's this, or that, whatever you're saving up for, Fidelity Youth Accounts gives you the freedom to spend and save your way.
Well, shit. 153 days in prison is a long time. About 230 hours of waiting that I, definitely waited for. It gave me time to think, to consider, to ponder. Was I on the right path? Was a life of crime really for me? No. Once I got out of here, it was time to build the car and win that goddamn rally. And in no time at all, I was out. Our first task was getting the car inspected. I wouldn't even be allowed to participate if the car wasn't road legal, so I had to make it road legal. To do that, I needed more money. And no, I would not be partaking in any more crime to do this. I was a new man. So, my first money-making venture was illegally brewing sugar wine to sell to the local alcoholic. You know, like a businessman. Firewood. First you chop it, then you deliver. 3,400 marks. Sewage. My uncle lost his license traveling at 169 kilometers an hour on the M31, and he's given me the keys to his sewage truck. Suck out sewage, get paid. Sewage. More sewage. The sewage truck is very big. Make sure to drive it carefully and watch out for that pole. More sewage. The tank is full. Time to dump it in the waste treatment plant. Whoopsie, I accidentally dumped it all over the floor. We got cash. Upgrades. Rear wing. Very important. Gauge cluster. Bam. Tachometer. Bam. Drunk man is calling. Drive him home. Money. Green car driving. Fuck. Okay. Listen, mate. I just need you to fuck off. Right now. Grandma wants groceries. I buy Grandma a bunch of groceries. Drunk man, delivered home again. Sugar wine, sold to drunk man. Sewage. So much sewage. Dead moose on the highway. Wait a minute. This isn't Finland. Timo wants me to advertise. Okay, Timo. I'll advertise for you, Timo. I have flipped the car. Picking strawberries. Man insults you while you make a terrible wage. Who are you looking at, you fucking dickhead? I forgot about Grandma's groceries. They've all gone off. Here you go, Grandma. 8 kilos of spoiled sausages and 20 liters of moldy milk. Yes, Grandma. That's awesome, Grandma. Can I have my money? Yes, Grandma. Really cool, Grandma. Okay, finally. 74 marks. More sugar wine deliveries. Hey, look. It's Pedal. I'll just stop to let him cross the intersection. Cruising down the street in my 6'4", jocking the bitches, slapping the... Is that a bee? And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Inspection. Will we pass? Will we fail? Who knows? Well, this guy does. How does he know? Just fucking banging on the car with a screwdriver. Yep. And what do you know? We failed. You fucking dickhead. Do you know who I am? I need this car right now. You know what? I'll be right back. I fixed up everything Mr. Inspection Dickhead wanted me to fix, got him to hit my car with his trusty screwdriver again, and what do you know? We passed. The repair shop owner Fleetari caught wind I had shat all over the inspection shop parking lot and rewarded me with a 50% discount and 10 bottles of the strongest booze in all of Finland. Thanks, mate. Gentlemen, the time was upon us. The car was working well, it was registered, and it had a few upgrades. The day was Saturday. I could just tell big things were going to happen today. I drove to the rally sign-up station and signed up. Well, I would have signed up if I hadn't forgotten my helmet. Shit. Satsuma was in fact drivable, but had been having a few issues with the suspension. Quite a few issues, in fact. Cornering was basically impossible, and when I hopped out of the car, it did this. I found that if I took a wheel off and then just stuck it back on. So, rally o'clock, it was. I drove to the start, this guy counted me down, and off I went. The race did not last long. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh don't flip, fuck, shit. Attempt 2, this time was even worse. No! Attempt 3. This time was even worse. God, fuck! Attempt 4. This time I took things a little slower. Instead of barreling around the corners at over 100 kilometers an hour and flying off the track, I took them at 80 kilometers an hour, keeping all 4 wheels in contact with the ground and preventing any crashes. This strategy worked. I didn't even crash once throughout the entire track. Just, after I finished. Slow and steady does win the race, boys. Now let's see what we got. Dead last. Alright. Okay, I guess I'll... All hope wasn't lost. Stage 2 of the race was tomorrow, and it was the same route as Stage 1, but in reverse. Surely tomorrow, I would redeem myself. I took the car back to the start of the rally and parked there overnight as per the rules. Except I didn't read the rules closely enough, because I parked in the wrong spot. To get to the start of Stage 2, I'd have to take the highway, which has a speed limit of 100 kilometers an hour. I'd been completely ignoring the speed limit, which turned out to be quite a costly mistake. This little fucker got me going 115 kilometers an hour. Only 15% over. I'm sure the fine isn't that bad. Shit. That is a lot of money. I didn't have the money to pay the fine, so I just gave him the finger and fucked off. Anyway, I had a job to do. Get a good time on the second stage and try my best to get out of last place. And before I knew it, the rally was on. On the straights I got up to 100 kilometers an hour, and in the turns I could manage just a bit below that. Of course, going at this speed with my flimsy little car, mistakes were bound to happen. We spun, but we could keep going. Then we flipped the car. No! But we could keep going. Then we launched it into a ditch. The door was hanging off, but we could keep going. And then we hit a rock. We could not keep going. I was extremely close to the end, so I jumped out of the car and legged it all the way to the finish line. I still had a bit of hope, despite all the tumbling around of the car. We had driven fairly well, and so I checked our time. It, wasn't good. My time was so bad, it didn't even show up on the leaderboard. A time so terrible that it sent me spiraling into a deep depression. I drank a case of beer, drove to Fleetari's, found the 10 bottles of booze, and drank until I blacked out. And blacked out again. And blacked out again. And again. And again. And again. And then it was next week. During my bout of violent alcoholism, I found 9,000 marks of unpaid fines on the kitchen counter. Fucking 9,000 marks and unpaid fines. So, I was in a lot of debt, the police would probably be at my door to throw me back in jail soon, and I still had a rally to win. Things were not looking good in the Mart household. I needed money, and fast. So when Mr. Drunk Man called at 2 AM asking for a ride home, I obliged. I picked him up, and he began his usual drunken babbling. But this time, he let me in on a little secret. His wife had bought a winning lottery ticket, and he had stolen it and the money without her realizing. He said he kept the money hidden away in a suitcase. How much money? 5 million marks. If I could find that suitcase, that would be enough money to pay off my debts and build the rally car of my dreams. Did I really want to steal from this man? I had sworn off a life of crime. Yet here I was considering stealing millions from this guy Who thinks he's my friend? Approximately 3 seconds of pondering later, I concluded, money. To find the briefcase, I would have to scour the entire map. Every little nook, every cranny. Oh, look, there it is. Oh. I threw it in the back of my car and drove home, having a minor accident on the way. Shit. Oh. I opened the briefcase, and oh my, that is a lot of money. Literally 15,000 presses of E later, I was left with 1.5 million marks. Much less than the advertised 5 million, but hey, he probably spent it on sugar wine or something. It was time for some upgrades. I bought the entire catalog. The best suspension, the best carburetor, nitrous, a new steering wheel, all the cool body panels, the best radiator, time on the dynamometer to measure our immense power. And most importantly, a cool paint job. Gentlemen, the car was ready for round 2. I gave it a good test on the highway, and of course I got pulled over and fined 30,000 marks on the spot. Fucking dickhead. The car was ready, but I needed some practice. So I took it to the dirt track and drove the route over and over. Every corner, every gear shift, each slight bump and bend. I even got rid of the stick shift and switched to paddles for speedier shifting. And a couple of hours of practice later, we were finally ready for competition. Saturday, the start of the rally. Big things were about to happen. This dude counted me down, and off we went. The car was very fast. All the upgrades had turned it into an absolute weapon on the track. I shot past the repair shop, around the sharp bends, went a bit wide on this turn and hit a tree, but let's ignore that. Past the turn off to my house, past Grandma's house, over the train tracks, and across the line. The pace felt very good, and checking the standings confirmed my suspicions. Ooh, yes. That's right, fellas. First place. I was officially in the running to actually win the rally. All I had to do was have a similarly good performance on stage 2. I took the car back to the parking area and parked in the right spot, and went back home. Tomorrow, I was gonna win. Back home, I sleep. This sleep was a bit different. I was not woken by the pleasant sounds of the Finnish countryside, or even the phone ringing, but by a belligerent drunk man in my room with an axe. Turns out he didn't appreciate me taking his money. Fair enough. Well, with him subdued, I went to finish the rally. Stage 2. This time I'd parked in the correct spot and wouldn't be incurring a time penalty. I took the car to the start of the next stage, where I signed up, and before I knew it, the rally was on. All that practice had paid off. I knew the corners. I knew the bumps. We flew over the train tracks, past Grandma's house, past the turn off to my house, into the sharp left turn, past the drunk man's house, past the repair shop and the mansion with wasps in it, through the farmland, and before I knew it, the race was done. There it was. Oh yes, we had driven pretty damn good, and were 30 seconds ahead of second place. I knew just how to celebrate. The fireworks back home. On the way back, I crossed the bridge. I'd crossed the bridge many times at this point, but this time, it felt different. Thank you once again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. You can download them from the link in the description. Or you can go hunt warts or something. I don't know. Sponsored by World of Tanks. Hello again. Welcome back, soldier. Today, you're being inducted into my special unit, the Bean Berets. In this induction, I'm going to be showing you some of Battlefield 4's wackiest tactics in tier list form. Some are good, some are bad, some might get you sent to the naughty corner, and some are cursed. What I ask in return for this forbidden knowledge is a promise, a commitment, to go out to your local Battlefield servers, put this training into practice, and share in the chaos with your fellow beings. I want no map unconquered, no server untouched, and I want our slimy, Heinz Beans flavored mark to be left upon the Battlefield 4 community. We start at F tier, move up to S tier, and perhaps go beyond. So, let us begin. First on our list, the so-called long-range sniper. You know this guy. Maybe you are this guy. You are this guy. Aren't you? He sits at the back of the map with his 40 times scope and misses 52 consecutive shots before hitting one guy in the body. I don't care if you think you're God's gift to sniping, nothing useful comes from sitting in the back and doing nothing. So get in there and stop being a backline bitch! F tier. Next, exclusively using the The hell is this? Ah! Wait, what? Money? Sponsor? No. Really? Yo! That's right, boyos. This video is sponsored by World of Tanks. Have you been sitting in 1,000 credits, the premium tank Excelsior, tier 5, and 3 rental tanks for 10 battles each. Tiger 131, tier 6, Cromwell B, tier 6, and T-3485M, tier 6. Now onto the video. Next, exclusively using the mortar in your team's base and not anywhere else. Just your base. These people are known in the community as mortards. Easily the most brain-dead tactic on this entire list. You set up your mortar and click on the orange Doritos on the screen. You don't have to move, you don't have to think. You just click the left mouse button and are occasionally rewarded with neuron activation. Now sure, mortars can be a kind of useful gadget for getting people to move off of a rooftop or building, but we're a mortard, so we don't do that. We set up at the back of the map and kill 3 guys in a 40-minute game. F tier. Next up, the DS3 decoy. Probably the most useless gadget in the entire game. When thrown, it shows the enemy team a little orange Dorito on the map as if it was one of your teammates. This is a fairly decent concept, and maybe you could use it to lure some unsuspecting enemies into your trap. But in practice, it just doesn't fucking work. It takes up a slot that could be used for any other gadget and is more or less completely useless. Excellent. F tier. Go away. Lastly, we have AT mines. What? AT mines? I love AT mines. I use them all the time. Who said that? God, these things suck. Sure, you might get 1, maybe 2 kills with them, but most of the time the tank will see them, and you'll have wasted your time. Hooray. In trying to get some footage with these things, I got a massive 1 kill. This was after placing the mines directly in front of the enemy spawn, which made me feel like a very slimy AT mine user. Ugh. In order to use AT mines, you need to sacrifice either a rocket launcher or your repair tool, each of which is far more useful. F tier. Shit gadget.
The drone age has begun in the large-scale military online action game War Thunder. Experience completely new gameplay by piloting recon and strike drones to hunt down your...
Moving on to D tier, we begin with AA mines. Now I know what you're thinking. Aren't AA mines just Sky AT mines? No. Now you only get 1 AA mine, as opposed to 6 AT, and I've gotten a good fat 0 kills with it. But, they're pretty good for a maneuver I like to call the whack and smack. If a helicopter is getting a little too cozy, you throw the AA mine down and whip out your rocket launcher. The AA mine immediately launches a rocket, hits the helicopter for 40 damage, and kills its mobility for a few seconds. In this golden window of opportunity, you then press mouse 1, and hit him with the... Fuck. I said, hit him with the... Oh, come on. I said, hit him with the... Yeah! And then, you hit him with the... So it's not useless, but it's also not great. D tier. The mortar. Now that our brain has grown beyond the spinal column, we're able to move around the map and then use the mortar. Very advanced, I know. It's a pretty good tool for removing people from rooftops, but other than that, it's still a bit useless. And most importantly, boring. The mobile artillery also falls into this category, but now we can shoot at the orange tank. Still pretty boring though. D tier. Moving on, we have the Airburst and 40mm LVG. These weapons are in the same vein as the mortar, in that they require very little brain activation to use. Simply find a choke point on a close quarters map, and click your left mouse button. D tier. Next up, the solution to everyone's disappointing affinity to getting killed by bullets. The ballistic shield. This bad boy can block all incoming fire when equipped. Unfortunately, that's about it. Now sure, it does have some uses. For instance, going up elevators that are held by enemies. In this clip, this fucking legend peeked around the corner with his shield, managed to distract me with shooting his feet for just a second, went full Marty Robbins on me. You can also smack people with it. D tier. For the last item in D tier, we have claymores and slams. Now I know slams are pretty much the same as AT mines, but really they're better. You can put them on walls, you can put them on vehicles, you can throw them horizontally, and be generally more creative. Sure, they do a bit less damage, but they're a little better in all other situations. Claymores are pretty shit, but they're very useful for annoying high-level players. Simply put one in a dark corner of a room, and it's basically a free kill. D tier. Here in C tier, the tactics get a bit spicier, and also become fun. Truly an alien concept to most Battlefield players. Starting us off, we have road killing. Pretty self-explanatory. Run your vehicle into an enemy's soft, squishy, meat-packed body, and they die. Now this is not the most effective tactic, but it's very fun. Now of course, you're vulnerable when going for road kills. When players see a fast-moving quad bike hurtling towards them, they don't see danger, they see a free kill. So, you must be stealthy, and attack from where they least expect. C tier. Next on the list, the various types of grenade launchers in the game. We got the 40mm and the 40mm 3GL. These are both a little better than the bouncy as fuck LVG of D tier, but only by a little. The difference between these two is the 40mm goes while the 3GL goes. Now of course, the 3GL does less damage per shot, but the sound entirely makes up for it. Excellent. C tier. Levolutions, or Level Evolutions. Wow. When this game first came out, much of the advertising showed huge buildings falling over, dams collapsing, chimneys toppling down, the Arecibo Observatory undergoing catastrophic failure. Well, it's still just as cool today. Each map in the game has some main destructible event that changes how it's played. On Siege of Shanghai, the massive tower in the middle of the map collapses. On Lankang Dam, the dam can be destroyed. On Hainan Resort, the sides of this building can collapse. And on Caspian Border, this big boy tower can be destroyed. Now, this all sounds great, and the animations are still incredible all these years later, but most of the time, kind of ruins the map. Especially on Siege of Shanghai. That being said, C tier. Still pretty cool. Now generally, in Battlefield 4, you shoot people with guns, but for this tactic, we're ditching all ranged weapons in favor of stabbing people in the neck with our knife. Without knowing what you're doing, going knife only tends to suck. But if you employ the Batman strategy, you may find more success. Batman stands for big, angry, testosterone-fueled man attacking at night. Very scary, no doubt. I found the most success on the map Dawnbreaker, where you can place spawn beakers high up on skyscrapers and repeatedly drop down to stealthily attack people's necks. Bonus points if you also use the Phantom Bow to become a full ninja. C tier. Speaking of the Phantom Bow, we have using shit weapons. As it turns out, running around the battlefield like some 14th century longbowman is not conducive to long-term success, which is a fancy way of saying that 90% of the time, you'll eat shit. But that 10%, oh boy, does it feel good. Killing someone with the bow is a very persuasive, I am better than you kind of statement. To really go for gold, you can equip the bow as your primary, and the mare's leg as a secondary. A really, really shit lever action rifle. Once you get 90 kills with the mare's leg, you even get the 40x scope. Yep, the 40x scope. What an incredible piece of technology. Sure, deliberately handicapping yourself with bad guns doesn't sound great, but trust me, it's a lot more fun than these things down here, and it's more fun than just using this. C tier. Next on our lovely list, the Suave. The Suave is a paper airplane that can be thrown and steered around to find enemy players. Its main purpose is to spot people and laser designate vehicles. But really, we all know that using it as a battering ram and plunging it deep into the hearts of your enemies is its real purpose. Yeah! Unfortunately, you can only kill one guy per Suave, so it's not the most effective, but definitely very fun. C tier.
What's up? Kinda cool the way you mix it up. Like this? Making everybody be like, holla, konnichiwa.
difficult on the remote.
Passive radar missiles. These aren't very fun, but they are actually decent. There are 3 types of anti-air missiles in the game: heat seekers, active radar, and passive radar. Heat seekers need to lock on before they can be fired, which gives the enemy aircraft a lot of warning before you shoot. Active radar missiles can be fired without locking on and immediately tracked. They're better and give the enemy much less time to react, but are still not a guaranteed hit. Then there's passive radar missiles, the best of both worlds. You can shoot them before you lock someone, let the missiles gain heaps of speed, and then lock your target. It may seem like we're giving the enemy some time to react, but quite often they have literally no time because of lag compensation and are a guaranteed hit. Wonderful. Only drawback is that the weapons that the passive radar missiles replace are usually much better, unless they're heat seekers. C tier. Speaking of aircraft, does anyone actually know how to use these things? Of course not. It's not like they're the most powerful vehicles in the game or anything. That would be ridiculous. Real gamers do not use jets as intended by the developers. Real gamers do not use the munitions on the jet, but use the jet as a munition. You take your jet, find some unfortunate tank somewhere on the map, and roleplay as a GBU-12 500-pound aerial laser-guided bomb. Incredible. C tier. Last of C tier, we have by far the most powerful vehicle in the game, the skid loader. This bad boy can fit 1 guy in the cabin, 1 guy on the back, and 1 brave, courageous, heroic soldier in the bucket. It dies in 1 hit to basically anything. It's slow as shit, but by God, is it fun.
Got him.
Get out, you're gonna die.
No, it's okay. It was not okay.
C tier.
You don't scare me!
In B tier, the tactics get a bit better, and the game gets more fun. For our first item in B tier, we drive around in a car, doing drive-bys on the local pedestrians. Works better with a friend, but friends are not necessary. That's what I tell myself anyway. All you need is a buggy. You can roadkill people, shoot people with a gun on top, run away from tanks while making monkey noises. Oh, there's a tank right on the right. A whole world of possibilities opens when you choose the buggy lifestyle. B tier. Flashbangs. Simple and effective. Fling a flashbang, or 12, into a small opening and charge in after it pops. With some luck, the enemies will be blind and you can shoot them in the head. You can also stick them into a 40mm grenade launcher and blind people at least 40 meters away. Solid. B tier. Hey, you guys hear that? Uh-oh. Oh shit. Ah, get down! Anyway, that's right lads, we're taking it back to 1960s Vietnam. The transport helicopter. Get some friends, get in the chopper, and get on the guns. These things are pretty fucked. You can kill helicopters and jets pretty quick. Infantry will simply melt when shot at with 6,000 rounds per minute, and even some light armored vehicles can be destroyed. A very underutilized vehicle for tearing shit up. B tier. Now, let's take the brain cells we've been developing and throw them all in the bin. The AC-130. This time, however, it's incredibly strong. The primary gun on the plane is the same as a tank cannon, but unlike most tanks, it can fly. Enemy land vehicles are just kind of fucked until you're dealt with. Not to mention, there are 2 other guns. Not a super exciting way of playing the game, but definitely pretty effective. B tier. Hardcore. The game mode. Hardcore has this following of people who seem to think that it takes way more skill than regular Battlefield, and it's so much more realistic. Shut the fuck up! God, all these people just me, all just non-stop whinging, complaining. Oh, it's not realistic. Shut up! Hardcore lowers your HP from 100 to 60. Not a huge change, but it completely destroys all of the carefully adjusted weapon balance, and results in whoever clicks first wins. Amazing. It's also not a realistic game, and nor is Hardcore. Sure, it can be a little more difficult, and you may get team killed every now and then, but that's not why you play Hardcore. You play Hardcore to abuse the fucked weapons. Sniper rifles, which now one hit anywhere in the body, and explosives of any sort are stupidly strong. The only populated Hardcore server in the OCE region doesn't allow shotguns, so you'll have to use your imagination for these clips, but they're basically snipers That can't miss. Quite fun. B tier. For the final item in B tier, we have all the battle pickup. If you see this icon on the map, it means there is a strong gun sitting there waiting for you to use it. Battle pickups come in all shapes and sizes. There's the USAS-12 with frag rounds, the AMR-2 sniper that one-hits guys anywhere you hit them, the M32 grenade launcher with 6 40mm grenades, the M136 rocket launcher that can do a ridiculous 80 damage to a tank. There's this little drone called the Roar, and this flying fuck called the XD-1, and of course, the coolest weapon in the game, the railgun. Pretty cool. B tier. Moving up to A tier, the UCAV, or UCAV for short. A small drone that's launched from a tube and flies at very fast speeds. It's a lot like the Swab for the Recon, but it flies much faster and packs a very powerful explosive warhead. I understand, I may take some flack for loving this thing, as it's pretty much just non-stop free kills, but it's pretty much just non-stop free kills. Oh my god! For infantry out in the open, it's unavoidable instant death. It does a guaranteed 20 damage against tanks, even through APS, and you can kill the pilot out of helicopters with some consistency. Takes a bit of getting used to the controls, but very fun once you do. Very good. A tier. Rockets. Aren't they cool? You got your RPGs, s'mores, MBT lords, lots of options for blowing shit up. However, we have a problem. One rocket will do around 30 damage to a tank on a good hit, which means you need 4 rockets to kill it. So, get yourself some friends and pick out your large explosive shooter of choice. Not good for enemy tanks, which is precisely who you'll be fighting. Bada bing. Bada bing. Pro tip, find an M136 rocket launcher on the map and use it. Quickly switch to your other launcher and then use that. Big results. Big. A tier. For our next item, we remove our left hand from the game and play on the stationary weapons. There are a few types of stationary weapons, but the main ones are the 50 cal and the tow launcher. Can you guess which is better? Yeah, the 50 cal sucks. But the tow launcher, oh boy. This bad boy shoots a steerable missile that hits very hard. Holy shit. And it destroys helis in one hit. A tier. In the same vein as the utter humiliation in dying to a tow missile, we have strapping up your Jeep with an obscene number of explosives, cranking up the ISIS music to full volume, revving the engine.
Get the elevator,
The great and noble C4 soldier. You must be sneaky, drive in from the lanes they least expect, and attack at the perfect moment. Guaranteed to generate huge lakes of salty tank drivers. Fuck off with gay C4 car pussy. A tier. MRAPs, or mine-resistant, ambush-protected vehicles. The mine-resistant part is a complete lie, by the way. These bad boys are light, fast vehicles with a big old 50 mounted on top. Great for you and a friend to drive around and shoot. And drive around a bit more, and shoot more. And drive a bit more, and shoot a bit more. Etc. These things are really fast, so if you see a big boy, run. A tier. Very similar to passive radar missiles, we have the Igla. This guy is a lot like the passive radar missiles, but is carried by dudes on the ground. This means, given enough teammates, you can have as many Iglas as you want. Much like the passive radar missiles, you don't shoot at the target you intend to hit first. Instead, you shoot at something else, let the missile gain lots of speed, and then lock on and hit your intended target. Nice. A tier. Speaking of shooting things with friends, we have getting yourself a squad, going to the back of the map, and causing trouble. Which means capturing their points. Specifically, the gimmies, or the ones next to their base. Of course, you need friends to do this. In this game, my friends and I went to Foxtrot on Zavod 311. Placed mines all over the place, and generally caused lots of problems for the enemy team. If you want to win the game, this is a legit strategy to do so. A tier. Yeah, smoke grenades. These bad boys explode, put out a big cloud of smoke and obscure vision. That's all they do. D tier. Nah, just kidding. These things are extremely useful for pushing through tight choke points. Simply chuck some smoke at the end of the choke, run through and... Ah, fuck. Okay, this time. Throw the smokes, run in, and... I said, throw the smokes, run in, and... There we go. A tier. Instead of obscuring vision, this attachment obscures sound. That's right, the suppressor. No longer will you broadcast your location loudly and clearly to the entire enemy team. This guy makes your gun much quieter, which means it doesn't show up on the minimap when you shoot. So what, you may be thinking? Well, believe it or not, most players actively use the minimap to find enemies. Shocking, I know. Taking yourself off the minimap is very good for sneaking around and being naughty. A tier. Up next, the Rib. Rigid hull, inflatable boat. This thing is fast and has 4 seats for you and your buds. But most importantly, it has this thing, which is capable of shooting at a blistering 6,000 rounds per minute. This boat is pretty much the water version of the transport helicopter, with less protective shielding and 1 less minigun. Basically, this thing is a real man's vehicle. Miss your shots, and you die. Carelessly drive into enemy territory, and you die. But, position yourself correctly, time the enemy movements, and strike with power and ferocity, and you will certainly find great success. A tier. Moving a bit down the scale of destruction, we have the EOD bot, or Angry Warrior. This thing is the most chaotic gadget in the entire game. His intended purpose is to go around and repair friendly vehicles and arm MCOM objectives with its repair tool. However, this purpose is limiting and boring. The EOD bot is much better suited as a means of slowly and painfully blowtorching the kneecaps of your enemies. In one round of using this thing, I managed to get over 50 kills. Now, this only really works in close quarters maps like Lockers and Metro, but that's alright. Set yourself up next to a friendly ammo box and send a non-stop stream of explosive resistant, kneecap burning robots down the hall to your enemies. No. A tier. For our final item of A tier, we have light vehicles as a means of transportation. That's right. I thought for this item, we'll keep it simple and fun. Just driving around in your quad bike, without a care in the uh-oh. Jets? No. Bad. Far too easy. Helicopters? Absolutely not. Terrible. Cringe. Quad bikes? Now that's the stuff. Explosives in this game exert force on friendly vehicles when they're detonated. Given enough explosives, magical things can happen. I'm on A! Holy shit! You hit the roof! No way! Phenomenal. A tier. I know. We're 23 minutes into a Battlefield 4 video, and I've made no mention of the big ones. The units. The hefty fellas. The Chungus. Vehicles. Not the transport helis or MRAPs, but the real big lads. Tanks, LAVs, mobile anti-air, scout helicopters, attack boats, stealth jets, and attack jets. The big boys. Each of these vehicles has the capacity to completely turn the game. They each have powerful weapons, thick armor, or high mobility. In the community, the players that only seem to ever be inside vehicles are affectionately referred to as vehicle whores. I will admit to being a bit of a vehicle whore myself, but what can I say? It is pretty fun. I will now briefly explain all the vehicles. Scout helicopter. Minigun go. Shoot ants with minigun. Shoot tank with rocket. Run away when feeling scared. Attack boat. Use burst cannon. Kill ants. Use TV missile. Kill jet. And also boat. Annoy jet. Jet come for you now. Die. Anti-air tank. Remove frontal lobe. Sit in spawn. Shoot at passing jet. Get no kills. Realize you are failure. Get bored. Run into battle. Turn infantry into Heinz tomato ketchup. See tank. Scream. Die. LAV. Use gun and go. Kill ants. Use tow missile. Kill helicopter. See tanks. Run away fast. Tank can't get you. See helicopter. Run away fast. Uh-oh. Tank. Big gun, go. Find LAV. Shoot LAV. Find tank. Shoot tank. Find ants. Shoot ants. See jet. Run away. Can't run away fast. Die. Attack jet. Big gun, go. Find tank. Pop tank. Drop bomb on tank. Find boat. Pop boat. Find helicopter. Pop helicopter. Find ant. More difficult to find. Drop bomb on ant. See stealth jet. Run away. Stealth jet too fast. Die. Attack helicopter pilot. Find ants. Sit still and let gunner shoot them. Find tanks. Destroy tanks. See helicopters. Destroy helicopters. See jet. Run. Die. Attack helicopter gunner. Click on white spots on screen. Rack up 200 kill streak. Shoot TV missile. Kill helicopter. Shoot TV missile. Miss. Die. Stealth jet. Find ants with laser guided missile. Shoot ants with 25mm cannon. Ants get angry. See stealth jet. Engage in 12-minute dogfight. Kill enemy jet. Annoy tanks with rocket. Annoy boats with rocket. Kill helicopters. Kill ants. You do not die. Stealth jet OP. S tier. Good job, Tim. Yep, that's right. The defibrillator. Quite the impressive piece of technology. Shot repeatedly and now dying on the floor? Defib. Several bullets have passed directly through your heart. Defib. The sniper has unfortunately delivered a 50 BMG round right into your nose. Defib. An LAV has sent 4 armor-piercing, fin-stabilized, discarding Saber warheads through your head. That's right. Defib. A tank has fired a high-explosive shell directly into your chest. The resulting explosion has separated not only your limbs from your body, but the skin, muscles, and bones from said limbs. You do not lie dead. Worse, you are a mere puddle. Your existence instantly wiped out. The horror of this event no doubt replaying in the minds of everyone unlucky enough to bear witness. You guessed it, defib. The defibrillator is, as you can imagine, quite a powerful gadget. So get yourself a squad and have them all use it. When one dies, run over and revive him. Bonus points if you all use the combat medic perk, which can double the speed of a full revive. S tier. Next, we've got the equivalent of shining a red laser around a cat. The laser designator. Or the acquire and fire. Laze and blaze. Lock and cock. The Recon class has several gadgets that are capable of laser designating vehicles. Once a vehicle is laser designated, it can be locked onto by certain rocket launchers and vehicle weapons. The resulting hit will deal way more damage, all the while being able to fire out of line of sight and not having to hold on to the lock. Also works against jets. Get your buddy to play Recon and lays everything he sees. You then play as an engineer with the Javelin and anti-tank perk. He locks, you cock. Pretty simple. S tier. Now, what guns do you think are best? Well, that's a bit of an impossible question to answer, so let's narrow it down. What guns are the best on Operation Locker? Maybe the Ace 23 assault rifle. High rate of fire, 35 bullets, good range? No. How about the SKS? Fast firing DMR, kills in 3 shots, has very good range? No. Maybe the AEK 971, the sweaty tryhard's weapon of choice. Very high rate of fire, high damage, very little recoil and spread. No. The Scar H, hard hitting? No. The FAMAS? No. All these weapons pale in comparison to the true dominators of close quarters battle. The shotguns. Why bother shooting a guy 3, 4, even 5 times when one will do? Instead of shooting a continuous stream of 10 bullets, why not condense that into a single spray of lead pellets? Shotguns. If all you need is one shot, you can beat anyone, given you shoot fast. My favorites of the shotgun genre would be the SPAS 12, 870 MCS, and Saiga 12K. Want a bit more range? Use flechette rounds. Want a DMR in shotgun form? Slug rounds are the way to go. Or maybe you just want to blow shit up. Frag rounds. The 40mm grenade launchers also come with buckshot variants that can one-shot guys at an incredibly stupid range. But wait, there's more! Shotguns are also very good at annoying people. Very fun. S tier. Next in our list, a very basic mechanic of Battlefield 4. Spotting people. Oh my god, why doesn't everyone spot? I will now demonstrate how to spot an enemy in Battlefield 4. Incredible. This will place the enemy's exact position on the minimap and also puts a big, fat, orange, or some other color, Dorito over their head for a few seconds. It's basic, fundamental even, but spotting is incredibly important. So do it, please! S tier. So, we've learned that the stationary tow missile is very effective. Well, what if we took the exact same thing and stuck it onto a boat or LAV? Great things, no doubt. The tow missile on vehicles retains its incredible power and then adds to it by allowing the launcher to move. Wow. In a similar vein to tow missiles, we have TV missiles. These guys are available for the attack boat and attack helicopter. They're technically available in the attack jet, but don't. Just don't. The TV missile is a missile that you control with the mouse. A good way to think about it is that you become the missile, and in more ways than one. S tier. So, you've taken my advice and are now exclusively using vehicles. The map Parasol Storm comes on. You hop in your boat, equip the TV missile, and look for trouble. But, before you even see an enemy, you've been hit by an enemy TV missile. This just won't do. Well, remember that I said when you shoot a TV missile, you become the TV missile. This is true in more ways than one. As it turns out, this game was never completely polished. So when you shoot a TV missile, you literally do become the missile. Your soul is transferred from human being driving a boat into this small piece of metal hurtling across the sky. This means that somehow you can shoot at a TV missile and it'll do damage to the driver of the boat. Armed with this knowledge, it's still really hard to actually pull it off and kill a boat pilot, but it can be done. Yeah. Dumb, broken, overpowered. S tier. Remember how much I like spotting? Well, this gadget is made exclusively for spotting enemies. The MAV. This little guy has a thermal camera and is able to fly. It's effectively a way of getting valuable information without any real risk. You can then perform the complex maneuver of mashing the shit out of the Q key and revealing everyone on the map. You then get off the MAV, glue your eyes to the minimap, and shoot guys advancing on them. A very useful gadget for almost any situation. It can also destroy equipment, like radio beacons, tugs, mortars, even explosives. S tier. In Battlefield, there is usually a spread of good maps and not so good maps. Sure, they aren't bad, but but can be pretty frustrating. However, these maps usually possess some fun or interesting spots to go to. For example, on the map Rogue Transmission, if the boys and I are having a shit game, we'll get in the transport helicopter and fly up to the radio telescope. Or, as we call it, the Rogue Transmission. These fun spots tend to be high up and relatively safe. You can also try using explosives to launch vehicles on top of places. This is more difficult, but very fun. Other good spots include the skyscrapers on Dawnbreaker and the big boy in Siege of Shanghai. Anywhere where you can jump down and ruin someone's day from. S tier. The Party Lab. Yet again, you need some buddies. Get everyone to hop in the LAV, which can seat a pretty solid 6 sweaty men. 2 of them deal the damage, those being the driver and gunner, while the other 4 should be responsible for repairing the vehicle and shooting rockets at bad guys. You can even combine this with the laser designator by getting the gunner to equip Gunner SoFlame. You can then laze an enemy vehicle and have all your boys hop out and shoot a rocket at it. This is guaranteed to ruin someone's day. S tier. Speaking of ruining people's day, the UCAV has returned yet again. This time, however, we need 5 brave and noble UCAV-wielding soldiers. You can see in the UCAV spam tactic, I noted that it does 20 damage when it hits into a tank or other heavy vehicle. Well, the observant among you may have done some simple arithmetic and divided 100, the total health of the vehicle, by 20, the damage of the UCAV, and came to 5, which is the number of UCAVs necessary to take a tank from 100 HP to 0. So I did exactly this. Got 5 boys together, unlocked the UCAV slowly and painfully with all of them, and then began the day ruining on a truly monumental scale. 2, 1, go. There's the boat. I see it, I see it. It's on the other side of sea. Oh, that's 1 hit, 2 hit, 3 hit, 4 hit, 5 hit. S tier. So that's our conventional unit, but sometimes warfare calls for unconventional tactics. These following tactics are the unconventional tactics among unconventional tactics. They are the least expected, and as such, may get you removed from the server. Perhaps permanently. First, we have using the MAV to kill people. Remember how I said that it can destroy explosives? Well, these explosives do damage to enemies. Pretty neat, but this is in fact an intended tactic. What is not intended is getting a friend on the enemy team to exclusively plant explosives around his teammates' feet. Incredible. Tier. Look at these fucks. Think they're better than us? Little do they know, the battlefield soldier is also capable of great mountain climbing feats. Only on Operation Locker though. Between C and D, you can jump into the red zone here to sneak past people. Between D and E is a spot that you can reach by jumping here, then climbing around the side, then running up this slope. This part has lots of invisible skyboxes that go all the way around to D. This is far from an exhaustive list, so experiment, and find yourself some even more interesting spots. Tier. Next up, this one won't get you banned, but it is very unconventional, and pretty fun. A selection of the small Easter eggs on some of the maps. I plan to go into detail on the Phantom Assignment Easter eggs, but they're way too long, so you'll have to look into them yourself. For Parasol Storm, we have the Megalodon. The Megalodon Easter egg is fairly simple to pull off. First, get yourself up to the windmill with the burning destroyer next to it. Stay there until the storm blows in, and you get smited by God himself. Then, go to one of these 2 islands near the E point. On both are these trees with parrots on them. Walk onto the tree, and wait about a minute. After waiting, a light will appear in the water.
Oh, there it is.
Shoot it, and watch. Is here. Maybe you shoot it again. Oh, look. Oh, it just shot into the water. Pretty cool. On Hainan Resort, you can go to the top of the main building, get the AMR-2 battle pickup, jump onto this air conditioner or whatever it is, prone in exactly this spot, aim towards the broken container ship, and shoot the light that appears. Neat. On the map Operation Whiteout, near Sea Point, there are a bunch of icicles that you can pick up and use as a knife. It took me quite a while to get this footage, so please, appreciate the reaction. And then this happened. And finally, the Gulmud Railway Yeti. Very easy. Go to this rock here with a rocket launcher, find the bright light, shoot it, and... yeah. Incredible. Tier. Remember the skid loader from all the way back in C tier? Well, it's actually kinda busted. If you get on the back and aim down your sights, you're inexplicably given a literal wall hack. I don't know how, I don't know why, but it works. Seriously, look at this shit. It's incredible. Tier. And for our final tactic, the most fucked one. This one has no real counter, and is completely broken. However, it will certainly get you banned, so use at your own discretion. There's a section of wall that can be clipped through up near the E flag. Playing as recon with the MAV, jump on these boxes and place the MAV inside this section of wall. It's really finicky and hard to get right. Once it's down, jump onto the MAV, prone, and slide into the wall. Congratulations, you're now in the ceiling. Fly a MAV through where you just slid and pick it up. Jump on this corner and run across the ceiling to this little outcropping of ice. Place your MAV once again in this little spot, climb up and slide through the small opening. Finally, you're here. You can place your spawn beacon. Now what's so special about this spot, you may be wondering? Well, we're behind a wall. Better yet, you can see and even shoot out of this wall, but no one can see in or shoot in. Like I said, this one's fucked. Use at your own discretion. Deal. So there we have it, lads. All the wacky shit I could think of. As many of you know, Battlefield 6 seems to be in the works. Once it's out, I'm gonna stream it. And if the game is any good, probably make a video. So stay tuned, gents. Again, thank you to World of Tanks. Goodbye. Uh-oh. Wait, no. Hello again. Welcome to America. A few weeks ago, 4 of my friends and I took a trip to this strange land. 5 days in Los Angeles, 4 days in San Diego at TwitchCon, and 3 days in fabulous Las Vegas. This video documents our experiences, the antics, the pure shenanigans, and our trials and tribulations across our 12-day trip. From Machete Man to Scientologists, terrible foam pits, bodily fluids, Mexican nightclubs, and fully automatic machine guns, it was truly a trip to behold. So, let us begin. First off, why America? Simple answer, I want to go to TwitchCon. But TwitchCon would only be for 4 days, and getting an expensive flight all the way to America for a short convention, well, that's just wasteful. Joining me on this expedition were 4 friends. Ben, Tristan, Sydney, and Kai. They would be accompanying me as my entourage, violently flinging away anyone who came near us at TwitchCon. The stage was set, the bookings were made, and all we had to do was get to America. This time, I made the wise decision of not swimming there, so I had to get some flights. 5 hours to Fiji, a 3-hour layover where I drank real Fiji water, and another 9 hours to Los Angeles. All things considered, it really wasn't that bad, especially because I had brought with me a secret weapon. My brand new YouTube. That's right, fuckos. You've wanted, you've waited, and now the chance is here. The Marsh YouTube. He's sick and tired of living in your walls, and now he has a gun. He's living under your skin. Take it off. Take off your skin. What will he do next? Why is he behind me? What is he doing with the gun? Why is he watching over me ominously as I sleep? No, I can't take it. I've had enough. Take this, you froggy fuck. Purchase him now with the link in the description or pinned comment. Do it now. Gentlemen, do not, under any circumstances, allow this product to enter your walls. I did once. Big mistake. Put him up on a shelf, put him up on your desk, put him up your... No, don't do that. Just keep an eye on him. He's watching. If confiscated by an enemy of the state, deny all knowledge of... What the fuck? I promise, there are no listening devices inside this frog. What are you waiting for, fuckos? Click that link right there and buy it now. It is only available for a limited time. All things considered, it really wasn't that bad, especially because I had brought with me a secret weapon. Benzodiazepines. Oh look, it's LA. I picked up our amazing, incredible, powerful rental car, the Chevrolet Equinox, and drove back to LAX to get Sydney.
I've seen Peter Griffin twice.
Sid and I wouldn't be joined by the others for a few more hours, which gave us some time to check into the hotel, set up the camera equipment, and go for a couple of walks around Santa Monica. To set up the camera equipment, all I had to do was plug in both microphones, yet somehow, I fucked it up. The lav mic sounded like this. And the shotgun mic, like this. Crunchy. Once the camera was set up, we left it behind in the hotel and went for a walk. Our thinking was, we don't need to bring the camera, how much shit can you possibly see on a 1 hour walk? Well, it turns out, you can see a lot of shit. The hotel I had chosen was right across from the Santa Monica Pier. You know, like GTA. So of course, that was our first destination.
How he playing GTA 6.
The people around us were also, for lack of a better term, rather GTA-like. One guy might walk past talking about last quarter's financial reports and how the business needs X and Y for continued year-over-year growth, while another is standing completely still, PCP'd out of his mind, deeply engrossed in the hallucinated worms wriggling around in the pavement. This contrast took a bit of getting used to. Houses all around us worth millions and millions of dollars, and sleeping in the sand right across from them, dozens of homeless people. We made our way to the end of the pier, saw the pretty spectacular sunset, and began walking back when things got stranger. On the bridge that links the pier to Colorado Avenue and Route 66, we saw some guy grab onto the guardrail with both of his hands and make a kind of jumping motion, like he was psyching himself out to jump off the bridge. Further down the road, I turned to look down an alley as we passed, and I saw this freaky looking homeless woman staring back at me, sitting on a mattress in a parking lot. And finally, the crown jewel of our first walk in the United States. A homeless man ran up right in front of us, turned slightly into a corner, dropped down his pants, and shat all over the wall.
There it is.
Sydney and I didn't say a word. We simply stared at each other in stunned silence.
How are you feeling about seeing a homeless woman shitting, Mr. Sydney?
It was a fucking experience and a half, to be honest.
Yeah, I would agree.
Back at the hotel, we were like, huh, that was fucking weird. Let's do it again. Walk number 2. This walk was longer, and would you believe it, even weirder than walk number 1. The very first thing I saw was pretty clearly 2 people just straight up having sex, down the street. You know, just... Next, we made our way onto the beach and walked along the famous concrete walkway between the sand and the street. This path seemed to attract a particular pungent odor. The one you get from smoking a little bit of that za-za, if you know what I mean. Weed. Another thing you couldn't go 30 steps without seeing were homeless people. Lots and lots of homeless people. Since it was nighttime, they'd all gone to bed, but, you know, they're homeless. So going to bed really just means curling up on the beach and going to sleep. We walked a bit further and came across Mr. Skeleton Man, just a whole pack of dog food that had been spilled over the ground, and finally, this guy. Now, he wasn't on the path, but a few meters off of it in the sand. This was definitely a good thing, because he was waving what looked like a stick around his head. However, as we got closer, I noticed something strange. You see, this is not a stick. It's a machete. You know when there's a guy in your GTA lobby spawning in random NPCs with weapons to go attack people? Yeah, that was this guy right here. Us, having seen all this crazy shit in the span of 2 hours, didn't think to call the police since, I don't know, what if it's just normal? What if Machete Guy is just there, you know, what if he's part of the beach? After our encounter with Machete Man, we were like, maybe it's not such a good idea to walk around at night here. So what do we do first thing when the rest of the boys arrived? Another walk. I am, however, getting ahead of myself, because first we had to go pick them up from the airport. First Ben, then Kai and Tristan.
Tristan! Good to see you, Kai.
How we doing? How we doing? The boys!
In the car, we told them about all the fucked shit we had seen in literally just 2 hours of walking.
I see a homeless guy like sprint into a corner ahead of us. I turn left to like look at what he's doing because I thought maybe he was doing drugs or getting ready to fucking kill us. And he's just got his ass, he's pulled his pants down and he's fucking projectile shitting onto the wall. It was a white wall. It was a white wall, and this bloke was fucking turning it chocolate colored.
We were quite hungry at this point, so we went ahead and got some good old-fashioned McDonald's, beginning the ultimate American fast food / chain restaurant tier list. Now, to be frank, American McDonald's gets shat on by Australian McDonald's. It might just be LA McDonald's, but the food was dry, the sauces were not that good, and it was just ugh. So we collectively decided on it being D tier. Back at the hotel, we went for our third walk. We checked out Santa Monica Pier again, had a good look at the wall shit, saw many, many more homeless, and met another character of Santa Monica. This guy. Let's just call him, Rectum Plunderer. He was clearly on something and insisted he'd been fucked. Detecting our strange accents, he asked where we were from.
It's probably the...
Are you British motherfuckers?
Yeah.
He was pretty sure someone had drugged him, and as far as we could tell, he was either really, really drunk, which I kinda doubt, or he had in fact been drugged. We walked around with him for about 20 more minutes, allowing him some time to sober up, and allowing us time to just talk complete and utter shit.
See, Earl is your fucking
That's his
uncle?
fucking uncle.
You're fucking lying, brother.
You know how he passed away?
Yes, you got stung by a stingray.
That's what the media told you. Do you think he got assassinated by Illuminati? I don't think that's over there. We kind of got some other thing going on. Have you ever heard of the Green Party?
During our walk, we saw several more interesting characters of Santa Monica. Push-up guy, yelling guy in the middle of the street, walking around weird guy, standing perfectly still guy, and of course, our guy, who kept swinging between saying funny shit and really concerning shit.
I know who did it. I'm gonna kill him tomorrow.
Do that.
I got a Glock in my Rara. Yeah, no, I really do have a Glock. I'm gonna come tomorrow. I'm gonna shoot him up tomorrow.
Don't do that.
Once our walk was up, we parted ways. Of course, not before getting him to yell "Hoodles!" at the top of his lungs.
Hoodles, you fucking you American.
And that was the end of the night. Sleepy time. Day 2, still in LA. At this point, it really hadn't hit us that we were in another country, so for breakfast we decided to go to a classic American diner. It was a mere 15-minute walk away. How bad could that be? To be totally honest, today was pretty boring. No wall shitters, no machete man, and no rectum plunderer. We got some SIM cards, went to a thrift store, found some funny shirts, and got some Chick-fil-A for lunch.
It's Spoderman.
To be honest, Chick-fil-A was mid. It was plain, it was dry, but it was better than McDonald's, thus landing it in C tier. Later in the day, we made a visit to Gold's Gym Venice, the gym where this guy trained for Mr. Olympia. After paying the very fucking steep $50 entry fee, we went inside and got a little workout in. This place was absolutely huge and full of big people. I've never seen a professional bodybuilder in my life, but I'm pretty sure we saw at least 4 or 5 in this one single gym.
Fucking easy.
Near the entrance were these golden dumbbells, each of them weighing in at over 150 kilos or 350 pounds. Naturally, we wanted to get a photo with them and asked the biggest guy we could find to take it with the Fruity Pig Polaroid. The guy that took the photo happened to be IFBB pro Will Harris, better known as Big Will. He was super nice and told us he had a photo of himself on the wall. And what do you know? There he is, on the wall. Naturally, we got a photo with him as well. Then we had dinner, and that was the end of the day. Sleepy time. Day 3. Time to go to San Diego. This drive would only be 2.5 hours. However, we're in America. The roads here are dangerous, they're difficult to navigate, and everyone on them is going 15 to 20 miles an hour over the speed limit. Luckily on our side, we had a secret weapon. Chipotle. Chipotle was the first bit of fast food we ate that didn't make us feel putrid. A big old burrito with good meat, a good wrap, good cheese, good sauce, good beans, and lettuce. We'll come back to the lettuce later. Chipotle was good enough, in fact, to land it in S tier. And with that, San Diego. Our hotel was very nice. A big building right in the heart of the city, only a short walk away from the convention center. Unlucky for us, it had no pool. Now that's not really a big deal, but when we asked the concierge if there was a pool, instead of just saying no, she said, well, we don't have one because it's actually a 112-year-old classic luxury establishment. Okay. Up in our room, the nightmare began. The shit rotation. 1 toilet, 5 dudes. Sydney was last, and remember that lettuce from Chipotle? Well, the lettuce in America proved too much for the Lebanese gastric system and passed straight through, completely unscathed. After shitting our guts out, it was time to go to the convention center and collect our lanyards. Nothing particularly noteworthy happened, but we noticed a not-so-subtle shift in the people around us. The crackheads and homeless had been replaced with nerds and e-girls. On our way back to the hotel, we bought ourselves a good amount of alcohol and began the hype up for tonight's activities. I had the Twitch partner party, and the boys had a Wu-Tang concert. The partner party was really cool. Free drinks, a whole bunch of streamers and YouTubers that I actually recognized, and my first real taste of this whole content creator industry thing. I downed a few beers, which gave me the confidence to do incredible things like approach people and ask them for a photo and maybe even have a conversation. It felt pretty bizarre to be around these people. Every now and then I'd go, wait a minute, I recognize that face, and bam, it's Philza. What was even more bizarre is some of them actually knew who I was. Now, most of the people that recognized me didn't recognize my face, but the name on my lanyard, which told me one thing. The frog has a lot of clout, but I don't, which means I need more. Meanwhile, the boys were off at the concert having the absolute time of their lives. There was Wu-Tang, Nas, Busta Rhymes. We met back up at the lobby of some hotel where we saw a real-life furry, which was a first for all of us, and then continued the night at one of San Diego's numerous nightclubs. was good. At 2 AM, the club closed and ejected everyone onto the street. Us, being incredibly fucked at this point, was still having the time of our lives.
We're talking grouse content.
Wakey, wakey, sleepy
It's
head,
fucking
wakey,
grouse.
Wakey, wakey, grouse content.
My balls was hot. My balls was hot.
We met this guy called Jesus.
You five are a good duo.
We screamed Many Men by 50 Cent as loud as we could.
Many men.
Praise be to God! Praise be to God! USA! USA!
And made it all the way back to our hotel. Back in our room, we kept the energy up by getting a noise complaint. Alright, calm down. It's sleepy time. Actually, no, it's not sleepy time. Sydney was still off his face and kept everyone up by laughing non-stop at this. Day 4. We woke up. A terrible mistake. The boys were dusty, the tap water was crunchy, and we were beginning to feel a little putrid. Not a great start to the day, sure, but it was worth it because last night was very good, or as we say in Australia, grouse. Today was the first official day of TwitchCon. Our plan was to get a bit inebriated beforehand, but we were so putrid we could not bear the thought of drinking any more alcohol. TwitchCon probably would have been better if we weren't feeling so shit every single day, but hey, each night was great, so I'm not going to complain. Generally, the convention floor was not the most exciting. Sydney and Ben had a go at each other with the inflatable bat thingies in this foam pit. We had a quick look at Twitch Rivals, which was not interesting. We took some photos in front of the Anime Lamborghini and in front of the Raid Shadow Legends booth, and visited the board game room.
The air is putrid.
I, being a Twitch partner, was lucky enough to go to the partner lounge where I hung out and met some more cool people.
Yeah.
The boys, however, were not Twitch partners, so while I spent the day there, they roamed the convention floor, taking photos with people and just generally meandering. 5 PM rolled around, and day 1 of the convention ended, which meant party time. Tonight we'd managed to get tickets to this rooftop bar party. Well, 4 of us had gotten tickets. Tristan, of course, forgot to get his, but through some finagling and me seeming very important by calling my agent and being like, yo, I think someone made a mistake, we managed to get Tristan in. That felt cool. We got a powerful photo of Ben simply posted up and beeline directly to the bar to claim our 2 free drinks. At the party were a bunch of fellow Twitch and YouTube people and also some game developers. It was cool. Anyway, once that was done, it was nightclub time yet again.
There he is.
First up was an Irish pub where we each got a pint of Guinness, Innis, and Kai managed to get himself kidnapped by 2 Salvadorian women. While he was off getting driven around, we made our way into the first Mexican nightclub of the trip, which was a great idea because Mexican nightclubs go hard. Anyway, we all got back home safe, including Kai, and it was sleepy time. Day 5. We woke up. Another terrible mistake. Today we were even dustier, crunchier, and more putrid than yesterday.
Big fucking shit.
We had another nightmare shit rotation, this time at a restaurant.
Oh look, Tristan's gone. I wonder where he went.
At the convention, I spent more time making friends in the partner lounge, while the boys did their meandering. Tristan wrote an extremely important message on the positivity wall. Wood-fired pizza. What will pizza do now? And then we met back up at the cosplay contest, which was alright. There were some impressive costumes, like this one, and Black Panther, if he was thick. Anyway, the convention ended, and once again, it was party time. First up, of course, our mandatory hype session in the hotel room. Lots of alcohol, loud music from the TV, and some very powerful photography.
As I feel the heroin coursing through my veins, I think to myself, man, I wish I focused on my ATAR.
Tonight we had the TwitchCon party, which was not a party, but a full-on concert. The lead act being Megan Thee Stallion. Oh yep. On the way to the party, we stopped at 7-Eleven to get ourselves some pizza, and were greeted by our boy Bruce. We had gone to the 7-Eleven the past 2 days, and had met the legendary cashiers, Bruce and Keenan. They were the suppliers of pizzas and good vibes throughout the TwitchCon experience, and tonight would be no exception, with them bestowing upon us their tastiest pizza. Further down the road, all the boys needed to piss, and the cigar place let us use their toilet. Their single toilet. Once again, we had another nightmare piss rotation on our hands. And then of course, we got to the concert. It was good. Meg the Horse got some people on stage, one of which being Master Chief, which the crowd liked very much. Tristan wasn't able to get into the concert despite our best efforts to sneak him in, so instead he went back to the cigar place and smoked a cigar with Muhammad, taking these insanely hard images in the process. After the concert, we met back up with Tristan and hit up yet another Mexican place. It was good. And then of course, back at the hotel, it was sleepy time. To help us get some good sleep, Tristan had bought a bottle of gummy melatonins, which had the ability to turn all 5 of us into bricks for the duration of the night. So we had some of those once it was time for bed. Of course, Sydney and I weren't particularly tired, so we performed an absolutely diabolical crunch on Tristan.
Hey, stop, please stop.
Day 6. Another nightmare shit rotation, another visit to the convention center. Not much happened today, but I did meet Michael Reeves. So that was cool. We got a good Polaroid in front of the TwitchCon sign, visited the suspiciously unpopular child predator booth. I got recognized by a couple of people, which was nice, got some photos with more streamers, and that was pretty much it. The boys and I met at the closing ceremony, where they actually managed to get on the big screen during the event compilation thingy. And then, much to Tristan's joy, this guy busted out a freestyle. And there we go. TwitchCon was over. All in all, I had a really great time, despite feeling putrid for most of the event. TwitchCon really put this whole career into perspective and made me really appreciate all the time I've spent sitting at my desk making silly frog videos. Despite all the bad press the event ended up getting, some of it definitely valid, I would still recommend it if you're at all interested in content creation or just want to meet other people like you. Anyway, back to tonight, it was club time. We met up with some people I had met at TwitchCon and took on not a Mexican club, but an African American club. It was good. On the way home, we hit up 7-Eleven one last time, got a powerful photo with Bruce and Keenan, and purchased their tastiest pizza. And, for one last time at this hotel, it was not sleepy time, but time for bed. Day 7. We woke up. Gentlemen, it was Vegas time. We loaded our stuff into the Schnequinox and hit the road. We even got to use the carpool lane, since, you know, we had a pool in the car.
Look at this, look how happy they are to be in a special little lane.
Our first stop was another fast food place, In-N-Out Burger. The food was decent, but it did have a few issues.
These chips suck ass.
In-N-Out is false advertisement. We were fucking anything but In-N-Out. We waited so long. Well,
Yes. Alright, the only thing in and out was the lettuce in Sydney's arse.
Now, I liked the burger quite a lot, but the boys found it pretty mid, so the final decision was C tier. And with that, back to the road.
Are we there yet? No, Tristan. We're not there yet.
We reached Vegas as the sun went down and took our very important sign photo.
Hard to the right, Travis Scott.
It's there! Straight off!
Our hotel for this day was the Flamingo Las Vegas, a 3-star hotel right in the center of the strip. This hotel was absolutely gigantic, easily the biggest I've ever been in, which meant the concierge desk was less of a concierge desk and more of an airport check-in counter. About a dozen or so concierges checking people in constantly. The guy behind the desk would only talk very quietly, with his eyes closed, and kept trying to show me what he was doing on the computer. Trouble was, the system that the Flamingo runs on is clearly over 2,000 years old and was completely and utterly incomprehensible. At the hotel, we also noticed another demographic shift. The nerds, e-girls, and homeless of California had once again been replaced with the American middle class. Caesar's Palace was across the road, so we also checked that one out. It was, interesting. Anyway, it was very late, and tomorrow we had a big day ahead of us. So once again, time for bed. Day 8. We woke up feeling fine. Today was going to be very good. But first, breakfast. Taco Bell. Taco Bell was actually really good. We got ourselves some delicious hard-shell tacos and had a tasty breakfast. S tier, no question. Although we did have some mug root beer, which I assumed would be pretty good since there are so many memes about it, but oh my god, it was one of the worst non-alcoholic drinks I've ever had in my life. It was like drinking toothpaste, if toothpaste was bad for your teeth.
It's like toothpaste.
I know.
The tacos were eaten, so we hopped back in the car and headed over to Battlefield Vegas. A place with guns. Lots and lots of guns. Round 1 was over. We had shot a lot of guns, but Tristan and I wanted to shoot more. So we went ahead and bought ourselves even more guns. Kai had also remembered to bring this, the frog plush, and we had hatched a devious plan. Oh no.
resisting! Wait, still resisting!
And finally, the minigun.
3, 2, 1, minigun!
Once it was all said and done, we had fired hundreds of rounds, killed a frog, and had a great time. Our instructor Harrison was super cool, so if you ever go to Battlefield Vegas yourself, ask for him. We got some hard photos, including this one, which was probably the hardest image of the entire trip, and continued our day. Lunch. This time, Burger King. Honestly, I don't have much to say about Burger King. The burger was a bit worse than In-N-Out, but the chips were way better, and they gave us crowns. So that means B tier. Back at the hotel, Ben crafted the sleaziest fit I have ever seen in my life, which we affectionately named the Gerald Sprinter.
Jerry Sprinter.
Gerald Sprinter.
Right, ready?
1, 2, 3, go! On the agenda tonight was, can you believe it, another nightclub. The venue for tonight was Omnia, with Martin Garrix as a DJ. Oh yep. Our first impressions of the venue were, holy shit, and wow. 2 floors, capacity for 2,500 people, this big ring light thing, massive smoke blasters, the best lighting setup I've ever seen, and ceiling women. Which is why it's such a shame that it was ruined by the fucking dickhead security guards. I went to take a piss and drink some tap water because God knows I was not paying $13 for a bottle of water, and they would not let me back on the floor. I get it. The dance floor only has capacity for blah 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 blah, but another security guard came by and told me that he could get us back in for $20 per person. Just, no, fuck off. We could not get back in, so we ended up leaving early. On the way back home, a guy approached Tristan and said, "Hey man, you look like Michael Jackson. Cocaine?" We did not take him up on his offer. Anyway, we went home, and it was time for bed. Day 9. Not much happened today. Lunch was at Jack in the Box, in the hood, which I didn't think was particularly special, but the boys thought was great, so we met in the middle and decided on A tier. Then we did stuff for the rest of the day. Honestly, I can't remember, and we have no footage, but I did record this.
Let me look away real quick. Just look over here at the flamingos.
At night, we visited Fremont Street, which was the very first paved street in all of Las Vegas. The ceiling you see here is actually the largest screen in the world, spanning over 12,000 square meters. The street was full of interesting attractions, street performers, and strange places, like the Heart Attack Grill, where people over 350 pounds eat for free. We chose not to have dinner there because, I don't want to eat that. So instead, we chose White Castle down the street. Big fucking mistake. For those who don't know, White Castle prides itself on making little burgers called sliders. I have no problem with sliders. In fact, they can be really good. However, White Castles were not. To start, they gave us these so-called chicken nuggets. I say so-called because chicken nuggets should not have the same texture as calamari.
Yeah.
Tastes like shit. Then, the sliders came out. If I were to describe these in one word, it would be grim. The meat sucked. The cheese sucked. The pickles were pickles. The bread was wet.
Oh, they're so wet.
Ready?
I'll say White Castle.
I don't get how this place is successful. How do people like this? Other people put this place at B tier. How? The bread is so fucking wet. Yep, F tier. Fucking could be Z tier if that was on here. Literally the worst restaurant I have ever been to.
I want to punch White Castle.
Anyway, following our authentic White Castle experience, I went back to the hotel and bought a $31 pizza, and Ben recorded someone getting robbed. Anyway, time for bed. Day 10. At this point, I was sick of Vegas. Clearly, it is not made for people our age. Everything is ridiculously expensive. Every place we went to felt like they were trying their hardest to suck as much money from you as they could, and it just generally gave me a shitty, gross vibe. Yuck people everywhere, sleazy salesmen and strip club promoters, and people just coming up to you in the middle of the path offering you drugs. Lucky for me, our stay was up, and it was time to head back to LA. We stopped on the way at IHOP. I got a huge plate of pancakes, and we did another shit rotation. The portions were American-sized, but the pancakes were pretty good. B tier. And what do you know? We're back in Los Angeles. For this leg of the journey, we had chosen a hotel in downtown LA. This hotel was quite nice, and crucially, close to several nightclubs. So once again, we hyped ourselves up in the hotel room. Kai gave us a rousing speech.
As Australians in
Los Angeles, the city of angels. It just makes sense to me that we go the fucking hardest, alright?
We listened to some powerful music, and we hit another Mexican club. They only played Kumbaya. It was good. Pedjing. Who the fuck is Pedjing? Day 11. Another dusty wake up. We started the day off well with a phenomenally good breakfast at Denny's. I just want to say, Denny's fucks. Denny's was exactly what we needed after last night. It gave us the energy and power to take on the rest of the day. So Denny's goes in S tier. Later, we took a quick trip to Runyon Canyon and went for a short hike. It was nice.
So I was like, oh cool, like they just mistaken Gandalf for Sauron. GTA characters.
The rest of the day, we did our laundry, went to Goodwill, and once again, it was nightclub time. Tonight was a club crawl. 3 separate venues and about 40 people with us going between them. We started at this cool bar, then went to this other cool bar, and ended the night in this really cool converted bank vault. Sydney and I even witnessed 2 dudes fight right in front of us. Back at the hotel, Tristan had gotten so fucked that he decided to just curl up and sleep in the bathroom. And I think you know what that means? Time for bed. Day 12, our last full day in America. Once again, we woke up dusty and ate some more fast food. This time, Wendy's, which was decent, but really nothing special. So it ended up in B tier. We walked around a bit more, took more hard photos, saw Pedjing again. Who is this Pedjing fellow? And once again, got ourselves ready for another grouse night. Tonight's destination was Hollywood. Naturally, we took a bunch of photos with the stars, saw 2 jokers having a deep and meaningful, went inside a Scientology place since we just couldn't resist, and made our way into the best club of the entire trip, Dirty Laundry. It was good. And of course, our last day, Day 13. We took our final hard elevator photo and had breakfast at Popeyes. This particular location clearly valued their security. They had a floor-to-ceiling glass panel with intercoms for communication and this one-way box thing. Very strange. High-security Popeyes was okay. B tier. We then dropped Ben off for his flight and wished him safe travels back to his homeland of Benin. Ben's flight was at 3 p.m, but the rest of us flew out at midnight, so we had a bunch of time to kill. Lunch was at Five Guys, which people say is really good. It was good, but it wasn't amazing, so we decided on B tier. And that's the final list. To kill more time, we checked out this museum thing, went to a mall, found Obama Boulevard, had a look at a dispensary, and for our final attraction of America, we visited an American institution, Walmart. Kai found some beans, and Tristan had an expression of deep, indescribable sadness. I was sad too, Tristan, because this was the end of our 13 days of pure debauchery. Another 9-hour flight to Fiji, 13 hours in the airport, and then 5 more all the way back home. Wait, no. No, the U2's wasn't supposed to break out. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Oh no no no. Oh no. Ah, ah, ah.
Millions find a low-cost health plan at healthcare.gov so they can enjoy more visits and have less to worry about. Feel like a million and find your plan during open enrollment. Healthcare.gov is here for millions like you.
Join large-scale battles with military vehicles. The online action game War Thunder has received a major update, Direct Hit. Joining the battle are machines like the Soviet MiG-27M, American Abrams HC, the Swedish Viggen, and many other new vehicles. Push these modern machines to their limit on the new map, Spaceport. Dozens of players participate in a single battle using tanks, planes, and helicopters. Research unique modules, smoke grenades, dynamic defenses, thermal sensors, and much more. Use all the advantages, and if you're skilled enough, finish the battle with a nuclear strike. War Thunder covers the most famous...
Sponsored by World of Warships. Hello again. I'm back in KSP. But why am I here? On Elu. That's kind of far away, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Worse, it looks like we're stranded here for the foreseeable future. Great. But how did this all happen? What led to our stranding on Elu? And where is Kevin? All good questions. Well, it all began with... Hello again, gents. Welcome back. Today, we're yet again back in KSP. In this episode, we'll be making great strides in not only sending Kerbals far away, but keeping Kerbals far away. In the last episode, the bounds of science and discovery were pushed very far. New technologies were discovered, large missions were sent to the far reaches of the solar system, and society has advanced significantly. This, however, came at a cost. Many Kerbals were unfortunately turned into a grey puff of dust in the name of progress. Jeb, Bill, Bob, Val, and in spirit, Urk and Obson, because I'm absolutely not getting them back. Sorry, Urk. They've all given the greatest possible sacrifice for the sake of the program. But we still have a long way to go. Remember, our goal is not to explore our planetary neighbours, but to explore our stellar neighbours, specifically Proxima Centauri b. In this episode, we'll be expanding our presence by building planetary bases all over the place. Not the dingy little ones we built last episode either. This time around, we're going for big lads. They won't just be bases, they'll be complexes, with their own power generation, crew quarters, mining operations, and even launch sites. Our first target is Minmus. So, let us begin. Gentlemen, this video is sponsored by Warships. Have you spent your whole life a stinky land-dwelling pleb? Are you itching for intense violence? Well, oh boy, guess what? I think it's time for you to hop on the computer, download World of Boat for free, and send some high explosives at the Japanese. Destroyers, battleships, cruisers, and aircraft carriers. A massive 400 warships, and 44 million players to send to the bottom of the ocean. But wait, there's more. The game is now partnering with Legendary Entertainment on a collaboration to bring Godzilla vs. Kong to World of Warships. What does that mean for you? Moke. Pick a side, shit lizard or giant gorilla, and unlock special rare camos, ship skins, and even Moke on the boat. Yeah! That's right, baby. Be raw. Download using the first link in the description and use either Godzilla or Titan Kong for your promo code. Forget about Godzilla though, because Godzilla is a shit lizard. Enter code Titan Kong for 300 doubloons. 1 million credits, 5 days premium, the USS Charleston, 10 monkey-themed camos, or Godzilla camos if you're a shit lizard fan, USS Smith, or Taichibana if you're a shit lizard fan, and 3 Godzilla vs. Kong ship crates. Gentlemen, you must act fast. This is an extremely limited event, so get your giant boat gorilla before it's too late. Offer ends 31st of May. Back to the video. So, Minmus. We're going to need a few modules for our base to be fully operational. Mining, refining, habitation, and a launch pad. But let's back up for a minute. Why build a base on Minmus? Hello class, it's me, Frog Guy. In this lesson, we're going to learn about drag. Aerodynamic drag. Drag is a force that acts in the opposite direction that you're moving. If I move to the right, then I'll experience a force to the left. It slows stuff down. Not what we want for high-speed rocket flight. Or is it? Yeah, most of the time. But parachutes are very useful because they can create huge amounts of drag when you want them to, slowing a speedy craft down to not so speedy speeds. But most of the time, drag is bad. So how do we get rid of it? Well, if we can find a way to lower these guys on the right, it'll result in this guy on the left also being lowered. Maths. Now let's say, hypothetically, I want to have no drag whatsoever. Since all the terms on the right are multiplied together, and we know that anything times 0 is 0, if any one of these numbers here is 0, then the whole thing is also 0. These guys on the right here can't really be 0. Area would mean our craft is a one-dimensional line, the drag coefficient can never really be 0, and if you made velocity 0, well, yeah. Last we could change would be fluid density. Now this can actually be 0. Now I wonder, where is fluid density 0? Kevin. Someone. Please tell me. Really? No one? Guys, come on, it's Minmus, you fucking idiots! I've had enough. God, why would you just pay attention to what I... Yeah, Minmus. There's no atmosphere, meaning drag is 0. Good spot for a base, don't you think? Yes. So we want to build a base. What do we launch first? Simple. 3 things at the same time, because otherwise we'd be here for far too long. The main habitation module called Djibouti, the beam sections on the side, called Djibouti beam section, and the crane. Except the crane didn't work, so we went for this thing. The amazing, the incredible, Big Nuts. Big Nuts will attach the beam section to the habitation module. So, let's launch. And they're all here. After several minutes of futzing around with Big Nuts and a couple of Kraken encounters, the beam sections were fully assembled. So, what next? Well, we're close to completely out of funds which are needed for expanding the base. So what do? A. Collect some easy money by completing contracts. B. Sell off some science and reputation for a quick fund boost. Or C. Liquidate all capital assets and divert the funds into a multi-billion-dollar joint venture with Amin Hassan Nasser, president of Saudi Aramco Petrochemicals, to build the largest, most powerful, and most profitable chemical refinery ever built. I think the answer is pretty clear. After an hour of turning ore into monopropellant, or cash into more cash, we have arrived at 5 million funds, more than enough to make the rest of the modules for the base. However, we have a problem. It turns out where we put the base is quite important. There are two main resources we need for it to function. Ore, which is used to make fuel, and metal ore, which is used to make metal, which is used to make rocket parts, which is used to make rockets. Our current spot has ore, but no metal ore. So I did some prospecting, found a good spot, built a sky crane, flew it to Minmus, picked up Djibouti, and flew it about 20 kilometers east. Our new spot is rich in both ore and metal, but it's not flat and tends to cause problem. To complete the base, we need a drill rover, a refining rover, lots of these attacher things that are unnecessary if you aren't stupid, and finally, the launch pad. And there we go. In celebration, we build a fuel tank, and a dish, and a station. Why? Well, as my new Saudi friends would tell you, because we can. This Minmus base will be our new point of rocket launching, and our first mission from it will be Gilly. If you think Minmus's 0.05G is far too much gravity, try Gilly with its 0.005G. That's 10 times lower. Not only is the gravity incredibly low on Gilly, but it's quite far away, so being able to build things there is a big, fat dub. This time, I'm going to send a single rover that can do all of the functions of the Minmus base, but badly. This rover will be the start point for yet another base. Its name? One. Instead of launching Horn from Kerbin with a huge annoying launch vehicle, we can simply build it on Minmus and ship it to Gilly from there. Not only will this be easier, but it also won't cost any funds at all. Not that that matters. After a painful construction process, it's on the pad, fueled up, and ready to launch. So, let's launch. There we go, boys. One has landed. As a test, I quickly whip up a small science rover, build it up, and drive it around. However, around this time, this started happening. Repeatedly. I switched to the minimus base, and then this happened. Oh shit. Not good. Luckily, I had turned quick saving and reverting back on because of this exact bullshit being a possibility. So the bases weren't gone, but they were kinda useless in this state. Dang. So for the next base, I decided I would... For this base, I've made the executive decision to launch it from Kerbin. I had a plan for this particular vessel, and it was big. Luckily, our boys at Saudi Aramco had been pumping and dumping non-stop for the past several months, netting us a very, very large amount of funds to work with. 26 million to be exact. Excellent. This would be necessary, as this next base would be quite large. So large, in fact, that 26 million wouldn't actually be enough money. Now, we could have continued to convert Kerbin's crust into monopropellant until we reached the planet's core, but that would be boring, and I know we can do better. What we needed to do was find a different resource to sell. You see, our great, strong partnership took boring old ore and converted it into boring old monopropellant. This would be the most efficient conversion without mods, but we have mods, so let's use them. Behold, the different resources of KSP Interstellar. There are a lot of these, and some of them are worth quite a bit of cash, but one stands above the rest. Antimatter. 1 kilogram of this stuff is worth a ridiculous 108 million funds. However, we can do even better. This is the diamagnetic antimatter container, which doesn't just store antiprotons, but full antihydrogens, which you can store with much higher density. In fact, right here, you're looking at 1,000 kilos, or 1 ton, of antihydrogen, which is worth 108 billion funds. Now that is a lot of dollar. So, let's partake in the ultimate drug run and go fill it up. But first, what is antimatter? Hello again, class. Welcome back. Particle physics. Sounds complicated, but it's really not that bad. Firstly, we begin with water. If you were to zoom in really close to water, you wouldn't see anything. But if you could see something, you'd see water molecules. Lots of water molecules. Let's pick one of these molecules and look at it even closer. At this scale, you can see that water is made of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. H2O. Let's ignore the oxygen for the time being and zoom into one of the hydrogen atoms. At this scale, we see that the hydrogen atom itself is made of 1 proton and 1 electron. Protons have mass and a positive charge, and electrons have almost no mass and a negative charge. Protons and electrons, and also neutrons, which have no charge, make up matter. If we have a close look at oxygen, we see that it itself is made of 8 protons, 8 neutrons, and 8 electrons. So where does antimatter come in? Well, it's basically the opposite of regular matter. Antiprotons have negative charge, and anti-electrons, which are actually called positrons, have a positive charge. This means that antiparticles and regular particles are attracted to each other. So, what happens when they touch?
Hey, 150 bucks? There's a new account at Fidelity made for teens that let you save, spend, and invest your money your way. So whether it's this, or that, whatever you're saving up for, Fidelity Youth Accounts gives you the freedom to spend and save your way. Learn more at fidelity.com/teens. Limited time offer. Terms apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services LLC member NYSE SIPC.
These prices are low. We've got the hottest toy brands in America. Come check out our sharper image 2-player laser tag, just $19.99. The fancy stores still charge you $35. Ollie! Good stuff, cheap!
Annihilation. All their mass gets converted to energy by Einstein's famous equation E equals mc squared. E being energy, m being mass, and c being the speed of light, which is squared. C squared happens to be this number, 9 with 16 zeros on the end. So if you had 1 kilogram of antimatter and mixed it with 1 kilogram of regular matter, you'd have this number of joules. A lot of joules. Or 21 megatons of TNT in 1 kilo. Pretty good stuff. Which means our lovely 1 ton of antimatter is the equivalent of 21 gigatons of TNT. Very big. But still, 5,000 times less than the Dino Destroyer asteroid. Now that was a big boy. Back to the challenge at hand, collecting antimatter. Challenge number 1. You can produce antimatter in Kerbin, but it's difficult and slow. Not ideal. The other way to get antimatter is through using a collector. In space, there's actually a fairly large amount of antimatter just floating around. If you're smart, you can use strong magnetic fields to capture this antimatter and store it. This is great, but it only works in space, and works best near strong magnetic fields where there are lots of particles whizzing around. Kerbin has a magnetic field, but it's quite weak. So do all planets in KSP. But they all suck compared to our big green friend, Jool. At exactly 9,000 kilometers in altitude, on a perfectly circular, 0-degree orbit, you can get the highest possible antimatter flux. You can also stack up collectors and start collecting in the tens of grams per hour. Big stuff. However, there is another problem with this method. The collectors can only collect antiprotons, not positrons, which can only be created in a cyclotron. So, we need lots of collectors, a cyclotron, a power source, generator, radiators, and of course, engine for getting to Jool. Behold, the Warren Buffett. Let's strap it to the most powerful rocket ever built and send it up. Once at Jool, we place ourselves at 9,000 kilometers, start producing positrons, and begin the lengthy collection process. And after a mere 6 years of spinning around the big green boy, the container was filled with a ridiculous 1 ton of antimatter. Time to bring it back to Kerbin. After another 2 years in space, the massive bounty of antimatter is finally back. So we recover the vessel and are rewarded with 96 billion funds. Very good. Now that we will never have money problems again, we can begin construction of our largest project yet, the Jool spacecraft. Since it's going to be so large, launching it in one go would be infeasible. So instead, the program has decided to launch it in several smaller chunks and perform what is known in the business as orbital assembly. This would require many launches, but once assembled, we would have a real big boy in space. Not just any big boy either. This would be a proper spaceship. Lots of fuel in these spherical tanks, this big fusion engine for high efficiency, a nuclear reactor for power, a ring centrifuge particle accelerator thing that looks cool, and a lander for collecting surface science. But before we launch, learn time. Let's rewind the tape a little bit. What do I mean by this? What makes a rocket engine efficient? First of all, let's look at a small example. These two rockets are both exactly 7 tons and have the same amount of fuel. The only difference between them is the engines they use. This one uses a conventional liquid fuel engine, and this one uses a nuclear engine. If we burn all the fuel in both rockets, which one will be going fastest at the end? The nuclear engine, obviously. Why else would we put a nuclear reactor in space, you dumb? So why is this? Conservation of momentum. You may remember back in episode 1 when I asked Kevin about Newton's third law. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. The rocket engine expels hot gas backwards very fast, which imparts an equal and opposite force on the rocket, causing it to accelerate. If you throw the hot gas back even faster, then you get more force for the same amount of fuel. This is exactly what the nuclear engine is doing. It uses a nuclear reaction in its core to heat up a gas to incredible temperatures that are much higher than what normal chemical rockets can achieve. This hot gas expands more than regular hot gas, which gives it higher exhaust velocity, and thus higher efficiency. So what about our futuristic fusion rocket? How does that work? I don't know. But what I do know is that it uses a nuclear fusion reaction to release loss of energy and then shoots hydrogen through it to get its thrust. Efficiency is measured in specific impulse, which is measured in seconds. Higher seconds is better. But why seconds? 400 seconds would mean that a rocket engine with 100 kilograms of fuel would produce 100 kilograms of thrust for 400 seconds before it ran out of fuel. The best chemical rockets can do about 400 seconds of specific impulse. The nuclear rocket engine in stock KSP does 800 seconds, and the ion engine can do 4,000 seconds. This is still baby shit though. The fusion engine that we've been talking about can do 15,500 seconds in high thrust mode, and 27,000 seconds in the most efficient mode. But we can do even better. The best engines can do 100, even 200,000, with the very best able to do a ridiculous 2 million seconds of specific impulse. These engines are so powerful that they can realistically accelerate the craft to a significant fraction of the speed of light. Very nice. Anyway, back to the Joule mission. We've got a few modules to launch: propulsion, command, centrifuge, reactor, habitation, labs, new labs because the old ones are bad, and the lander. So, let's go. Once the spaceship was fully assembled, I went to give it a name. But what to name it? Something that is definitely the Big Funny. I consulted the world map, zoomed into West Africa, into Burkina Faso, and to its capital, Ouagadougou. Immense. Once around Joule, we placed the craft into a parking orbit, detached the lander, and began the hunt for lots of science. Lots of data was collected, and our fuel was almost depleted. We headed back to Ouagadougou, docked, and transferred the science into the lab. After several more months of zooming around the green boy, the research had been completed. In total, we had collected 41,000 science from our mission, but the labs had multiplied this by 5, leaving us with an absolutely massive 207,000 science. In celebration, I get a Kerbal out of the habitation module, who is instantly vaporized by the high-energy neutrons from the fusion engine. RIP. I hurried to the R&D building and unlocked every technology available, including the warp drives. Our next base will be on the surface of the furthest planet in the Kerbal system, good old Elu. I've learned from our previous surface-based mistakes and placed everything necessary for the base to function on one vessel. Its name... This long boy has the premier in power generation, a literal black hole, and many other important features like a launch pad, drills, and an ISRU module. The interesting part of this base is how we're bringing it to Elu. You'd expect for a rocket of this size it would need a massive launch vehicle, but no. With our shiny new technologies, we can condense this vehicle into this power node. It uses 4 antimatter-powered jet engines, a massive fusion engine, and the warp drive. So let's launch. Up in space, we don't bother getting into orbit. Instead, we begin charging the warp drive, and... 20 minutes later, we've traveled 76 million kilometers, and we're here. We take it down to a low orbit, and touchdown. In less than a week, we've placed a base on the furthest planet in the solar system. Very nice. In celebration, we build a space station and launch it from our base. Incredible. We've pretty much conquered the entire solar system, so naturally, our next destination is... For our first interstellar voyage, we'll send a lander to plant a flag on the planet's surface. This will need an interstellar transfer stage and a lander with enough delta V to land and return to orbit. For this job, we've recycled the Ouagadougou lander, remembered to include a ladder, and built the very first interstellar transfer stage. So, we put it on a launcher, name it Shitfart 14, and launch. Once in space, we charge up the warp drive, and... Here we are, boys, Proxima Centauri, and our small exoplanet, Proxima Centauri b. We detach the lander and fly it down to the surface.
good steam is good for the skin. And so is the vitamin E in almonds. What's up, Dave?
What's up?
Hey guys, average YouTuber scammer back again with another content video. You ready to get scammed again? I scammed some people recently, all right? I didn't mean to. To be fair, I thought I was promoting a product that was good, and it turns out it's a bit of a scam. At least that's what the news on the street is. I really don't know or care, but I am cutting ties with them. I know that's for sure. Before we go too far into this, if you used my code for my one of 2 established titles ad spots, DM me your receipt, your email confirmation on Twitter. I will do my best to help you get a refund from them because they honor refunds. Or if we can't, then I will pay you back. And we'll do as many as I possibly can. I've already done like 50 people so far. Anyways, we'll go into the juicy tidbits and maybe even me getting sued. We'll see, guys. So why did I scam you all knowingly? Well, I'm a bad person. I'm a bit of a rebel. Just kidding. I didn't mean to do it. It was an accident. They paid me. That's a terrible excuse. But they did. I thought it was all right. I didn't realize there's more to it. It's complicated. It's nuanced. But everyone's really mad at everyone who promoted the established titles scam. And I have my own 2 cents on it. I don't think it's a scam. Okay, to be fair, I'm not defending it at all. I think there is a product. It's obviously a gag gift. It's obviously a novelty. And I thought, you know, that was sort of obvious, as I just said obvious 3 times in a sentence to really get the word across. But what I think is problematic is the way that I delivered the advertisement. I delivered the advertisement based on their request, by the way, in an official way. Official change to your name, Lord. I take full responsibility for the scam part because this business, there's ins and outs to it. It's, like I said, nuanced, but I'm the one who is at fault for this, okay? For taking the deal for 1, not doing more research for 2s, and for 3s, bud, thinking it'd be cool to call myself a lord. That's dumb as fuck. So yeah, call me Sliker, call me the other, Speed, call me any of the scammers I've made videos on, guys. I'm a scammer. Now watch this video, smash like, buy my products. Anyways, you've definitely heard about the scam that's been going around. It's called Established Titles, a previous sponsor of one of my videos. By the way, both ads I've cut out, and the most recent one, they have not paid me yet. I'll cut that out of my video as well. So we'll see how they deal with this. I assume that I have to pay them back when the money settles. If it does, we'll see. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but we shall see. Hopefully I don't get sued for using their name because I'm not allowed to do that in the contract. I signed a contract. Every YouTuber signs a contract when they do an ad. So hopefully I don't get sued. If I do, I wonder if that'll stand up in court. Judge, I did this. Ooh. So I didn't make a video or an apology about this sooner because I wanted to do more research and I wanted to kind of let the dust settle a little bit and really be able to give you guys the best possible answer to the question, why would I do this? Why would I do this? Why did I do this? Why do I think other YouTubers did this? And why you shouldn't really forgive me or others, and we should just move on from this, okay? So the first video came from a fellow named Scott Schaefer. By the way, he's got a bit of a hit list in the comments on his video, and I wasn't on it at first, and then I commented on his video. I was like, why am I not on your list? I just like being included. What can I say? That video wasn't the first, to be fair, that brought the question of the legitimacy of established titles into the bubble of thought that exists now. There's been plenty of videos that I've seen, but his video dove the most deeply into it, I feel like, and did the best. It did really extremely well. And I hope I can get some views like that.
This company is a complete scam. Now, I do have to say that I believe most of these creators don't realize that it's a scam, with the exception of one who we'll talk about in a minute. But that does not get these guys off the hook, and they need to do more research on a sponsorship before accepting the $20K plus a month these guys are making from doing deals with this scam company.
Because this is going to be an expensive thing to do here, because I'm gonna pay. I've already spent a lot of. I've already paid out more than I made from their ads. So this isn't good. This is bad. The craziest thing about the whole established titles thing is how many creators that they sponsor. How is this possible that they make so much money to just have seemingly unlimited ad spend? We'll get into that too. Every single YouTuber seems like they're sponsored by established titles. I don't know most. Who's Moon? I thought that was a damn planetary body. Yeah, a lot of people though. A lot of good people. Like a lot of people who I know are not bad people. Like Moon. So what is established titles? Well, it's a service that claims to sell title packs for historic Scottish land ownership and customs, okay? You can buy a square foot of land, Scottish Highland. I don't know if it's actually Highland, but in the woodland areas of Scotland, you can buy a foot and then you get to officially change your name to Lord, Laird, or Lady, which that's not how it works, turns out. There's a little more to it. I was like, man, that's really easy. You can spend $50 on this service and you get a digital certificate of some kind of lordship thing. You own a square foot, allegedly. Now, there's nothing physical unless you upgrade $30 to get the 1 square foot plus a framed thing that shows your name and stuff. It's cool. They spelled my name wrong the first time. I just covered it up when I did the ad. I was like, whatever, that's just an obvious typo. But it's interesting. It's an interesting $30 upcharge, I'll be honest. But at that time, I also thought you were actually buying a foot of land in Scotland and planting trees. So it's like... But the official part is where it really gets into the weeds for me. And not only the one upcharge, there isn't only one upcharge, by the way, there's 2. You can upcharge to get 10 square feet of land. Huh? That's like a small child's room. And you can't move out there, though. You don't own this land. You don't own this shit. You're an idiot if you think you own it. It's a novelty gift. It's a gag gift, right? But that kind of gets swept under the rug. In the script that you're supposed to read, it's a novelty gift. And by the way, you own 10 square feet of land and you get to change your name officially on all your documents to Lord, Laird, or Lady. That's how I saw it, right? It's like, oh, this is a joke. Oh, but also it's official. There's also a feel-good aspect to it. Like I said, planting a tree. For every order, you get to plant a tree. So basically, $50, you get a square foot, a digital certificate, and a tree planted. I don't think it costs $50 to plant a tree, in all honesty. I'm not an expert, but that seems pretty expensive. And they proudly plaster all over their website that they're aiming to protect the Scottish woodlands, which is great. You can't be negative at anything that says this, right? Like this is an ironclad protection in my feeble, small, virus-ridden, brainworm-et brain. I see this and I'm like, oh, these are good guys. These are good guys. Let me buy one, and also let me go ahead and take advantage of my audience. Make them buy it too. I'm stupid. Established Titles even claims that they've planted over 2 million trees, which is incredibly impressive. Now, without discounts, all right, 2 million at an average of $50 a tree, that's over $100 million spent on trees. If you can only plant 2 million trees with $100 million, you're not doing something right. That's just a little observation. I think those numbers are slightly off. Those numbers are slightly off. Established Titles, they're slightly off, all right? I think I could plant at least 3 million. It's safe to say, though, that they've made around $100 million off this, which is crazy. Because that would just be, insinuating that the average order was $50. You can upcharge to $380. There's a lot of 80% off discounts, stuff like that. So it might average out, I don't know. Okay. And also, for clarification, they're not planting the trees. They outsource. The money goes from them to another company called Trees for the Future.
Tell you, the only thing Established Titles does is donate money to an actual tree planting company called One Tree Planted. On top of that, they have never provided any evidence that they are actually donating money to back up their claims. So basically, you have to take the company's word that they are really donating money to plant trees.
Trees for the Future only plants trees in Africa. I've never been, which means I don't care. That's a joke, by the way. That's a joke, by the way. That's a joke. That's a joke. You can see this is where Trees for the Future works. It's all in Africa. It's like, I think that's Africa. I don't know much. I'm stupid. They also give the money to a company called One Tree Planted, which doesn't plant them just in Africa. They plant them everywhere around. But it's $1 per tree. It's like $1. It costs $1 to plant a tree, which that seems more reasonable. Trees are not that expensive when they're this big. If you spent $50 on a tree this big, you're a fucking idiot. All right? Sorry, guys. I feel like that was really personal. I just called you all idiots. I'm sorry. I handle drama and things that are serious with humor. So send me your receipt. I'll try to help you, okay? Planting trees is beautiful, by the way. So yeah, that's cool. We should definitely plant trees. Plant trees for sure. $1 per tree. So if it made $103 million, there should be 103 million trees planted for sure. In Scott's video, he says that there's no like actual evidence. If you count this as evidence, this might make sense. This is like an official page that established titles released after all the drama and stuff came out and everyone got exposed, etc. This was 4 days ago as of recording. Trees for the Future does have them as an official sponsor on their website, which I assume if Trees for the Future is real, then this is probably fairly good evidence. So it's not all bad. It seems like there are trees being planted, which is very important. But are they in the Scottish woodlands? Trees for the Future doesn't actually plant them in Scotland. Trees for the Future plants them in Africa, which is not Scotland, I don't think. The tree thing's great. You know, there's nothing negative about that. If the product was just a fun, obvious novelty gag gift, and it'd be like, oh, you plant a tree and you also get this dumb little plaque or whatever. Okay, that's pretty funny. No one would ever buy it. This is where it gets funky, okay? It's the whole lord and lady thing. Are you really a lord or a lady? No, you're not. You're not. Turns out you're not. I thought you might be, but you're not. You're not at all. You're not.
How about granting them the official title of Lord or Lady?
Hard to beat. Sign
I
me up.
know. Lord Stephen Rossiter joins us this morning to tell us more about how you can become part of Scottish nobility. Good morning.
For a company to claim that you have an official plot of land that allows you to officially call yourself a lord or a lady,
I'm officially a lord.
that would be a huge claim. Okay, a selling point, if you will, for a product. And that's what they want you to say in the advertisements. In total transparency, I didn't see anything wrong with it when I did it. At not one moment was I like, you know, this seems kind of bullshit. But at the same time, I don't wear kilts. I don't know anything about Scotland. Okay, I'm stupid. Not once did this make my bullshit meter, you know, skyrocket. Mainly because I just thought it was a joke to begin with. I thought it was a novelty / gag gift item. But looking back, my ads, it's official. You can officially change yourself to lord or lady. That is a massive claim that is just not simply true. It's a lie. I lied to all of you, and
find your curve. Seize the moment and enjoy the ride. Curve, the fragrance for men. See where it takes you.
Holiday lights in Ohio. They're all through the state. In downtown Cleveland, winter.
That, in my opinion, is the real scam. Okay? Me, I'm the scam part of this business. This business provides a simple product and plants trees, and I do the scamming for them, which feels bad, but it's in the script. And you have to read the script to get your advertisement approved, to get money, to get that dirty Scottish tree money. Ugh. So it's clearly stated as a novelty gift in the script that you're supposed to read. It is a novelty gift, but there is a lack of clarity that leaves the question of authenticity open. Is this official? It said official. Can you actually change your name on your official documents? You probably could, but you probably could just do that without the thing. You could just do that without the thing, it seems like. But they make it seem like you could do it only because you buy a $50 tree. I will say it this way. If you own a square foot of land in Texas, you're not a fucking Texan. You're a dumbass. Now, for actual clarity, if you were to own a part of Scotland, like a plot of land or something like that, and you were to go through officially recognized legal processes to get this land, then you'd be a lord or a lady or a laird or whatever the hell it is, a lardo, a big fat lard, I don't know. Then you'd be, you know. But this process is not recognized by the Lord Lion King of Arms of Scotland. I don't know what that is. It's something. That's who's responsible for heraldry and like tracking titles. I do. There's not actually anything on it. It's just one. It reminds me of that old buy a star in the sky thing. You could buy a star in the sky. You couldn't buy a damn star in the sky. You're just dumb as hell. You can't buy a star. You're stupid. You don't own the star. You can't sell that shit. That's like me selling you dihydrogen monoxide. That's water for the layman. So that was the big part for me when I started to realize that this was all a bit of a scam. My advertisement was in the restoration videos are fake video that I made like a month ago or a month and a half ago, Lord Umperville. And I saw these comments and people saying like, dude, you're promoting a scam. I was like, it's not a scam, it's like a novelty gift. Then I watched back my ad. there's a serious lack of clarity. I am promoting a scam. I'm a scam, and this guy didn't get the memo.
Oh, here it is. What the fuck is this? Wait. It is here. What? That's not a castle. Where's my castle? Where's my golf course? If this is a scam, I'm going. There's no castle here.
This guy visited like his official little lordship plot. Realized it was a scam long ago. Poor fellow. He got scammed. He was also drunk, he said in the video, too.
Seeing all of this and like being in this place is just amazing. But that's pretty much the story, actually. I was pretty drunk and I decided to buy some land in Scotland, a little plot in Scotland.
But he did change his name to Lord, which is kind of funny. It's a souvenir plot, though. The land is its souvenir plot. It's not real. It's a novelty plot. It's a gag plot. It's a illusion, if you will. And it's illusory plot. I'll stop talking. I'm just making it worse. By the way, I have a new product. I own 80 acres down here in Texas, and I'm going to start selling souvenir plots of my land. You can be a Texan. It's called Established Texan. Another thing to point out is the terms and conditions of the website, which I've read very closely, multiple once. I read it once. It says so many things, but nothing. It's like legalese. It's literally, it doesn't make sense. It's so open to interpretation. Souvenir plots are, at the time of writing, defined in the Land Registration Scotland Act of 2012 as a piece of land which, being of inconsiderable size or no practical utility, is unlikely to be warranted in isolation except for the sake of mere ownership or for sentimental reasons or commemorative purposes, and cannot be registered with the keeper of the register. That means you don't own land! Just say you don't actually own it. You don't own a square foot. Can you build on it? There's an FAQ on the website. Can you build on it? It says that they preserve the woodlands of Scotland, the wood areas of Scotland. We ask that all interested parties do bear this in mind. Just say no. You can't build on it because you don't own it. You're not a lord, you're not a lady. You get a piece of paper, it's a gag gift. It's a gag gift. All right? Just say that. Don't make me do your evil bidding for you, company. God damn it, be more clear so I don't have to. Some other little goofy tidbits that are in their TOS are this event of an act of God. They can just give your land away. Look at this. We have the right to relocate. Or other acts of God. What does that mean? It means you don't own anything. It means it's a gag gift. It means it's a novelty, right? Please be more clear. Please be more clear on that. I appreciate it. Okay. The testimonials thing, which is like basically saying that they're not real. The like for illustrative purposes only. That means that your testimonials they're not real. They're not real. They're for illustrative purposes. They're like a painting. And get this, you also waive the right for class action. That's awesome. I like that. I like that. The TOS is definitely my favorite part of the scamminess of the business for sure. I should have read the TOS before pulling my ad out, because I definitely would have never ever touched this with a 10-foot pole, to be honest with you. But alas, I
do it all behind the wheel of a capable new Kia SUV. Whatever your next adventure, the award-winning Kia lineup of SUVs can take you there. Whether it's the top-of-the-line Telluride, the ultra-versatile Sorento, the fun and functional Sportage, or the compact and rugged Seltos, make one yours with a fantastic offer. Click now to view our inventory.
First, a scientist begins with the perception of a problem.
Science is hard. Scientists spend a lot.
Well, it's, Alright, so here we are, finally tackling an anime iceberg. Well, I mean, there's the Cowboy Bebop one that's pretty short, and you should all go watch that one, it's pretty good. FYI, though, it's darkened because Sunrise took down the first version of it, so play it safe, I just darkened it, but I might have done it too much, but it's still a good video regardless. Anyways, Neon Genesis Evangelion is my all-time favorite animes. Here's actually a list of them. Now, before we get into this iceberg, I just want to clarify something, and that is I will only be talking about stuff relating to the original series, and its onslaught of alternate universe games, manga, light novels, etc. I won't really be talking too much about the rebuild continuity and its onslaught of, alternate universe games, manga, etc. Because I don't like that continuity at all, and I don't really want to research it, and since this is, my video, I can do whatever I want. If you like those movies, more power to you. I just don't really care for them story-wise, and so I don't really want to spend too much time, researching something that I really don't care for. Again, just saying, not my thing. If they're your thing, then that's great, I'm happy for you. But, yeah. I'm not going to be talking too much about them, except for, like, 1 or 2 entries where I kind of have to, like the sequel theory, for example. But, yeah, that's that. Also, real quick, I'm putting out a little search. There's a video online, or used to be online, where it was about a guy who was power scaling the Angels in the Evangelion franchise. Not just the original series, but also the rebuild films. Well, the first 3. The 4th one wasn't out at the time. I absolutely loved this video, but it got taken down, I think, because they used clips from the show, so probably did get removed for that reason. All that I remember about it is that it's an hour and a half long. It covers both Angels from the original show and the first 3 rebuild films, and the Angel number 1 was humanity. I think it was, I'm pretty sure. He also went into ways that each angel could defeat other angels. It was an amazing video. I absolutely loved it. I'm really bad in archive it. I'm looking for it for over a year now, but I cannot find a single thing about it. Please, I'm begging you, help me find it. Please, I'm begging you. Also, if the dude who uploaded it somehow sees this video, I'd love that video. Thank you for making it. If you could somehow re-upload it or something, maybe censor it, like the clips or something, that'd be awesome. If not, oh well. But with all that out of the way, let's begin with the video.
Yes.
Death and Rebirth. Death and Rebirth is a recap film released in 1997. Though while I say it's a recap film, it's kind of a recap, but kind of not. The first half of the film, Death, is around 70 minutes long, and it's just a recap of the series, though it does have some footage that wasn't seen in the original series. Though, since its release, this bonus footage has been released in several other ways, so it's not really exclusive to this film anymore. This part of the film is also split up into 4 different parts, each focusing on a single character. And finally, there's the second half of the film, Rebirth, which is an unfinished version of the first third of the end of Evangelion. Basically, it covers the first 27 minutes of it, so it ends with Asuka fighting the mass production Evas. Also, because this was an unfinished version of the end of Evangelion, there's a ton of differences between this and the film we ended up getting. Here's a list of most of the changes. I'm not going to list them all out because some of these things aren't that interesting, and it would take forever to list them all out. Overall, it's one of the very few recap films I'd say is worth checking out, and I really don't care for recap films. Pachinko. So pachinko machines are extremely popular in Japan. In case you don't know what they are, they're basically gambling machines that are similar to slot machines. And since it's so popular, it's not uncommon for pachinko machines to be themed around certain franchises. Some examples include Resident Evil, Persona, Terraformers, Gundam, Silent Hill, etc. And because Evangelion is such a massive, massive cash cow, there's been a ton of Evangelion pachinko machines. There's even been multiple Evangelion pachinko video games, just in case you want a virtual gamble. There's actually 10 different Evangelion pachinko video games, ranging from the PS2, the PS3, and the Nintendo DS. I don't know who's the target audience for these games, but I mean, if you like these games, more power to you, I guess. 1 Hour Photo. 1 Hour Photo is a psychological thriller released in 2002, starring Robin Williams. There's a scene in the film in which Robin Williams interacts with a kid holding an action figure from Evangelion. It's become a pretty popular meme in the Evangelion fanbase. Not just because it's Robin Williams saying Neon Genesis Evangelion, but also because the kid claims the action figure is a good guy that uses his silver sword to kill bad guys. But it's a figure of the mass production Evas, which, aren't exactly what I call the good guys. Some have also theorized that this little reference actually adds to the theme of the film. I personally haven't seen this movie, so I can't really say too much about that, but I'll leave a video from Ava Monkey in the description if you're curious about the subject. Pen Pen's fate. Towards the end of the show, Masato sends Pen Pen away to live with Hikura's family, as Tokyo 3 is becoming too dangerous for such an epic penguin. Now this has led to people wondering if Pen Pen was part of the Human Instrumentality Project, as he was a living thing. We don't actually know, though, if he was. It's been debated for years whether or not animals and plant life were part of the project. If he was, then I guess Pen Pen could return to life, but, I mean, if not, then... yeah, Pen Pen's dead. Personally, I think he may have been part of the project because of how sentient he was, but I don't know. It's really up in the air. Episodes 25 and 26. The final two episodes of Evangelion are fairly controversial. Well, they were controversial. Nowadays, most people agree that they're pretty good. But why were they so controversial? Well, I mean, if you're asking that question, you've never watched the show then, because it's pretty obvious why. For those that don't know, the final two episodes use a bunch of footage from previous episodes, with some new footage thrown in. And the main four characters, Shinji, Asuka, Rei, and Misato, monologuing and coming to terms with themselves. It's a very different experience than the previous 24 episodes, and the film. So, why did these episodes happen? Well, for years it was accepted that Studio Gainax simply didn't want to fund the show anymore, and so Anno and the crew couldn't finish the story the way they wanted to which ultimately led to the creation of the end of Evangelion after a massive backlash took place demanding for a proper ending. Well, this isn't actually 100% true. You see, Studio Gainax actually was having a hard time making Evangelion, as it was a very stressful production. And despite the show's massive success, they had a hard time getting sponsors, which is ultimately what led to the final two episodes looking like the way they do. Side note, this is not the first time a Studio Gainax production ran out of funding before it ended. Anyways, it's possible though that even if they had the sponsors, the final two episodes wouldn't actually be too different. As Anno has said it in an interview, and I quote, "I wrote about myself. My friend lent me a book on psychological illness, and this gave me a shock. As if I finally found what I needed to say." So perhaps Anno always intended for these final two episodes to be like that. At least in the dialogue narrative department. References and other anime. So being one of the most influential anime of all time, many different anime after its release have referenced it. Some more obvious than others. Here's a rapid-fire list of some from shows that I've seen. In Lucky Star, on the cover of the 11th volume of the Lucky Star Character Song CD, you can see Asuka and Rei figures next to some Haruhi Suzuma figures. In Panty Punny Dash, there's an insane amount of Eva references, like a reference to Eva 01 holding Kawaru, Sachiel making a cameo, Pen Pen making a cameo, the Gendo pose showing up, Asuka's plug suit, and even Eva 01 itself make appearances. In Genshiken, in episode 17, you can see an Asuka and Rei doujin next to a Ghost in the Shell doujin. In Wotakoi, Love is Hard for Otaku, the Gendo pose shows up in episode 2. In Desert Punk, in episode 14, they recreate the Evangelion congratulations scene. In Nisekoi, in episode 15, there's both the Gendo pose and a direct reference to the elevator scene. In Joshiraku, in episode 14, you can see Rei's silhouette. In Love, Chuniyabo, and Other Delusions, in episode 3, Asuka and Shinji are both referenced. In Nisei Monogatari, in the first episode, there's a parody of Shinji and Rei's conversation they have from episode 6. And finally, in My Bride is a Mermaid, in episode 16, Rei and Asuka can actually be seen in the background. But again, those are just ones from the anime I've seen. Anime that I haven't seen that references Evangelion include Sword Art Online, Barakamon, Grand Blue Dreaming, Gintama, 801 TTS Airbats, Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei, Soft Tenny, and Elf Ban I don't know how to pronounce that. Jet Alone. Jet Alone is a giant robot that makes its only appearance in episode 7 of Evangelion. Since it's a robot, it actually can't generate an AT field. Though Shiro Tokita does state in the episode that it's only a matter of time before they can create an artificial AT field. Since its appearance, Jet Alone has become kind of a meme within the Evangelion fanbase, as its existence in the series is kind of weird. Jet Alone.
Holidays sneak up on you again? Don't worry, we've got you covered.
You want me to draw ketchup?
Heinz bottle.
Has no weapons, though can walk around for at least 150 days to its eternal nuclear reactor. Which Nerve, of course, messes with to create a nuclear meltdown that has to be stopped by Masato and Shinji. This implies that Nerve found the whole Jet Alone program to be a threat. But, like, it's really not. Like, sure, Jet Alone can last longer than the Evas, but it's not, like, remotely as tough as them. Because of this, many people believe Nerve didn't actually see Jet Alone itself as a threat, but the idea of funding being diverted from Nerve to the Jet Alone program being the actual threat. Anyways, despite only appearing in one episode of Evangelion, Jet Alone has appeared in other pieces of media. A variant of Jet Alone also appears in Neon Genesis Evangelion 2, which I'll talk about a bit more later. Jet Alone also appears as a playable fighter in Neon Genesis Battle Orchestra, which I'll talk about a bit more later as well. And finally, yes, Jet Alone's name is a direct reference to Jet Jaguar, as Jet Jaguar's original name was Red Alone, so they simply combined both names into Jet Alone. The manga. Most anime is adapted from something. For example, there's anime based on manga, light novels, visual novels, video games, etc. However, there are examples of the opposite happening, manga being adapted from an original anime. This is what happened with Evangelion, despite the manga technically being released first to generate hype. So they spoiled the show before it came out, right? Not exactly. You see, the Evangelion manga differs greatly from the anime. For examples, Gendo is portrayed as a flat-out villain, as not only does he straight up tell Shinji that he hates him, but he also wants the powers of a god so that he can take out his anger on the world. Several angels from the show are scrapped entirely. Kaworu is introduced far earlier in the series, and even fights Army Assault with Rei in Unit 02. He's also a lot colder in the manga, and so Shinji actively hates him. Asuka is also not as mean to Shinji as she is in the show, and she's also a test tube baby, which is a very weird development. Toji also dies, and Shinji even knows that Toji is piloting Unit 03 before their fight. Also, the ending is entirely different, with Shinji and the gang living in a normal world. So why was the manga so different? Well, because it was written and illustrated by Yoshiyuki Sadamoto, and Ono had very little, if any, impact on the series. The manga lasted for 14 volumes, from February 1995 to June 2013. Yes, it lasted almost 20 years, due to various hiatuses. What species is Pen Pen? Yes, Pen Pen is a penguin. But what kind of penguin? Well, none. You see, Pen Pen was created by humans via genetic experimentation, which explains how he can watch TV, read, drink beer, etc. He's also got retractable claws, which I don't think penguins have. His origin is never really talked about in the show, but in the manga it's mentioned how he was adopted by Masato after she discovered him while working at her old job at some unnamed research lab. But keep in mind this is its own continuity, so it's possible that this didn't happen in the show. The penguin in real life that looks the most like Pen Pen is probably the erect crested penguin.
Fear, the caves are so fun when you can't die. Did you know this is the first time I found an amethyst? Yeah. No, I had to check. The first time.
took me 651 days. Had a lot of fun down here. Wasn't even scared of the poison spiders. Hopefully lighting up these caves helps my creeper farm to do better. It's been chronically bad. Look at all this emerald ore I found. I love that stuff. Here I'm specifically around the creeper farm. As you can see, lots of monsters are spawning. Went back to the wither farm today. I don't really need the skulls, just wanted to try out Shelly with netherite. Oh yeah, one hit kill every time. The farm is so fast that in the same day I could get to actually killing the wither. And now I've got a shulker box with a sextuple beacon inside, just in case I ever need it. And I needed it the next day, because I'm gonna kill the warden. But not tonight, it's a long trip over here. Give me your bed, villager. I'm not just gonna run straight in. First thing I did was set up some safety features, like this portal straight to the ancient city. I'm also gonna clear out a huge area. I wanna fight this dude on flat ground. There we go, all cleared. But I can make it even safer. I had to dig a hole all the way to the surface so my beacon would work. I truly took every precaution. Not gonna lie, the beacon looks a little funky down here. But now I've got beacon powers in the ancient city. That warden's going down. There's no achievement for killing the warden. In fact, it's supposed to be avoided. But never tell me not to kill something. That just makes me want to kill it even more. A frontal assault on this thing would be completely foolish. It can kill me in 3 hits. You can see here I tested the warden's strength and it absolutely slaps. I could have kept shooting it with my bow, but I really wanted that last hit to come from my sword. And it did. There it is. The warden slain. Now all it drops is a single piece of skulk catalyst, which I don't really agree with. I think there should be a much better drop from killing the warden, but I don't make those decisions. I really wish it dropped its head, so I just renamed the catalyst Warden's Head. That'll work. I took out another warden that day just for good measure, and to prove my dominance. And now I've got kind of an interesting idea. You'll see. I'm gonna make my own warden head out of warden heads. Well, not really, but I'm gonna do my best. To make it real, I've got to go kill the warden 15 more times. Shouldn't be too bad. Now, I could have killed 15 more wardens with the method I used earlier, but I'm gonna build a machine for it. It's nothing too fancy, just a simple trench with wither roses. And because the warden is an absolute moron, it falls right in and starts dying. So now I'm just gonna be farming the warden. It's kind of ridiculous when you think about it. All I really have to do is just stand here. The wither roses do all the work. However, if I slash him with my sword, I can kill him much faster. My best time was 45 seconds. Got 15 heads, just like that. And I swear to you, they're all from dead wardens. And that's not all. I guarantee you there will be much more warden domination later in this video. But first, I've got to fix up my tools and say hi to the villagers. I want to find a closer ancient city for easier warden domination. A strat that works, at least right now, is find a really extreme hill like this. Generally, underneath these, you'll find an ancient city. What did I tell you? I just flew right into this one. Ancient city, here we are. Safety comes first. Had to dig an exit. But I'll be honest, I was a lot more comfortable in the ancient city. You just gotta follow the law. I got all the loot today. Just 1 extra god apple. But I'll take it. Took another day to loot, but if you've already got Swift Sneak, there's not much here you can find besides god apples. Alright, so now the plan is to go back home and dig a tunnel all the way here. It's only about 10,000 blocks. It's actually 2 tunnels. One will be in the nether, one will be in the overworld. Ooh, nether tunnel's just about done. Just have to fly back through the overworld and connect it. That wasn't too hard. Now I've got a quick way back to my new ancient city. You may be wondering why I'm even here. And I'll tell you, I'm gonna trap a warden. You can trap a warden super easy just by digging a trench, but I want to get the warden all the way back to my compound. It's gonna be quite the challenge, and I'm still not entirely sure how it's all gonna work, but I'm gonna try. My idea is pretty simple. I'm just gonna trap the warden in a warden trench, and then dig a big tunnel all the way back home. But I realized today I dug 500 blocks in the wrong direction. That's embarrassing. So, let's just get to the point. I know you don't want to watch me dig for 20 days straight. See, that's much better. Now the tunnel's done and I can work on exactly where the warden's gonna be chilling underneath my compound. My trapped warden will live right underneath my emerald tower, nearly at bedrock level. He'll be in this glass prison, so he won't be able to dig his way out. I really gotta make sure to set this all up right, because once there's a warden in here, it's kinda hard to do construction. Minecraft told us to avoid the warden, and I'm gonna put it on display. When it comes to exploiting nature for pleasure, of course, safety is my #1 concern. I'm building this thing for the warden, and it would be real embarrassing to die. The entrance will be right by my big warden head, so if you want to download the world and check it out, that's how. It'll have a top view and a side view. Just be careful of the side view, you're liable to get shot. Building the room is great and all, but now I'm working on the actual logistics of getting the warden in there. One thing I got going for me is the warden's incredibly dumb. Some trapdoors and water should be all I need. So now I just have to figure out how I seal off this whole chamber without coming down here. My issue is there's a giant hole in the wall, and I've got to fill that with the press of a button. Getting that figured out was really something. I'm so glad I built this all to code. Alright, moment moment of truth. This whole big opening should be closed with one button press. Yep, that worked. Now I just have to reset the whole system. One last day of final inspection and prep. I am catching a warden that's very dangerous. Yeah, another layer of plexiglass can't hurt. Well, it's actually not time to catch the warden yet. When I was digging the big tunnel, I found a much closer ancient city. This one's only about 3,000 blocks away. I got real lucky. The system hasn't changed. It's still just a warden trench. The only thing it needs now is a little machine that'll hold the warden in place while I set myself up to run from him. Yeah, that's the plan. I'm gonna have it chase me 3,000 blocks. I'm not excited. All right, I've looked over everything like 5 times, 10 times, 20 times. I'm ready. Step 1 is spawn the warden. That's easy, just make noise. Step 2 is shoot the warden, so it follows you with an undying bloodlust. Step 3, make sure the warden goes in your trench. Step 4, you gotta name him, and now's probably the best time. Step 5, go down into your tunnel and prepare to run. At full sprint, the warden can't really catch me. But even if he did, I dug this tunnel high enough where I could fly away. Even with that though, it wasn't exactly fun to be chased. The only thing I really didn't like doing was having to reset the warden's anger. I'd have to shoot him with a bow, and this was my least favorite part. Okay, here we are. Last little home stretch. If anything goes wrong, it's right here. Please be in there, please be in there, please be in there. Yes! The warden's named and standing on glass, so it'll never get out. That there should be an achievement.
What's buff? Buff is cool and rad, and you can get a bunch of free stuff. Let me explain. Do some damage, gain some points. Kill these guys, gain some points.
I let it cool off for a day, and now I can finalize the whole design. I left this block open as an emergency exit. What's nice is when the warden's calm, you can get real close without it attacking you. But if it is angry, just don't go past the red line. You'll get shot. Probably a smart idea to put him down at bedrock rather than in the tower, but hey, never say never. After all that, I need to make some profits, clear my mind. But just like that, it's on to the next big thing. I'm gonna make this whole wall less ugly. And I'm gonna do it by paying homage to all of the peoples of the world that watch 100 Days. It's gonna be a big mosaic of a bunch of different flags. The first one is of Ohio. It was the first suggested. If I butcher your country's flag, don't get mad at me. Everyone's getting a 3x3. Some worked out perfectly, like Japan. That was an easy one. But sorry, Indonesia, that's the best I can do. They're in no particular order, and I think that's gonna make it all look nicer in the end. I kinda just tried to put different colors next to each other so they wouldn't all clash. But now I'm already out of gravel and only halfway done. Gravel break! Want to give a quick shout out to Nigeria's flag. It's easily my favorite. Hey, it's original, man. There's like 20 flags on the wall already that look like British and American ones. And if it's not one of those, it's some sort of plus. Get an original idea. I am now shortening the wall because I'm running out of countries that actually watch me. I only put fan-suggested flags on this wall. If a fan didn't call out the country, it didn't go up. The wall also needed some shaping, but now everything will fit in there perfectly. Shout out to the Bahamas. Your flag's awesome. This one could be Chad or Romania. I don't have enough colors to differentiate. As you can see, I'm very close now, but again, ran out of gravel. 27. Too bad I spent it getting gravel. Just a few more. I guarantee by this point, people were just suggesting random countries, but hey, I'll take it. It's done. And I gotta say, it's beautiful. Just want to thank everyone out there that watches these videos. You're the reason I do it. So really, thank you. I really tried to get all the suggested countries on there. If I missed you, let me know. Now it's time for another monument. And for this one, I'm going to blow through all of my diamond reserves. I've been saving pretty much all my diamonds for the last 700 days to build this monument. And now it's time. I did a little mining off camera, so I already know where this monument's going. Right by L-Town is this cute little hill with a bunch of dark oak trees. You'll see why I wanted dark oak later, but for now, I'm just taking out all the regular old oak. Gross. I kind of just cleaned everything up. Can't build a monument in a dirty forest. I also want to pave a road over there. You gotta think about the people who can't fly. This creeper wanted no part of me building with diorite. I don't get why people don't like it. I think it looks nice. Just gonna leave this on screen for all the people that don't like diorite and granite, and there's nothing you can do. Road's done. Now it's time for the monument. It's gonna be a stack of diamond blocks stacked on top of each other to show my appreciation. This is a monument to everyone who's ever made a 100 Days video on YouTube. Thank you. I'm also going to put up signs with the names of several 100 Days creators. That's why I wanted dark oak trees for more space. I only put up names of people that submitted their names, so no one's on here that doesn't want to be. And if you come to the monument, I guarantee you'll see some names you recognize. So thank you again to everyone who's ever made a 100 Days video on YouTube. I will come back here at some point in 4,000 days, so if you want to get in the monument, all you got to do is make 100 days. Do it. You've probably got about a year, so there's no excuse. Thank you. You're all notable. All right, now that that's done, it's time for another project I've been putting off for just far too long. It's time to level the compound. This is gonna be huge. You gotta remember, this is not just digging. I'm gonna bump into tons of machinery, and it's all gonna need renovation. This is gonna be an absolutely massive amount of work. However, it will give me a chance to look at all of my farms and fix them, get them up to date. The industrial side of my compound needs the most leveling by far, and that's where a lot of my oldest buildings are. They could all use a little renovation. And I didn't even mention the fact that once this is all leveled out, it'll look really, really premium. I'm actually really excited. I get a chance to gut my farms, make them more efficient, and ultimately get more profit. Things will be a bit weird. The stone cutters don't currently have a roof. Also, the melon farm is totally floating in midair. But I guarantee you, by the end of all this labor, you won't even recognize the compound. Except for the giant emerald tower. It's kind of hard to miss. At this point, I'm just trying to get the digging done. I'm not really going to start touching farms until all of the earth is moved. I've been going over this fairly quickly. You might not have noticed that it's been almost 10 days of solid digging. I can't wait to redo the iron farm. So much of it was built on dirt. Pretty much all my farms were built on dirt. I just didn't know any better. I'm really glad I installed an off switch in this thing. It's absolutely wrecked. The industrial side, which required the most leveling, is now pretty much done. It looks awful, but it's supposed to. Unfortunately, a lot of things have to be completely rebuilt. I know this diorite road is historic, but it's gotta go for now. I've also locked the orphans inside. They'll come out when it's done. Once I got the industrial side done, everything else came easily, and now all the gross leveling is complete. I've kind of been looking forward to tinkering with everything. This is gonna be fun. Iron farm will be first. I know it's new, but it's also the strongest element of my economy. First thing I did was just get it down to grade. It was unsettling seeing it float there. Then I ripped up the entire floor and put down some stone slabs. It didn't make much sense to have carpet in a factory. That should stop the golems from spawning where they're not supposed to. I'm also going to fix the pit. It's been off by a block since its construction. It was a much easier fix than I thought. I just made it bigger. It's so nice having access to unlimited wither roses. I also installed a safety fence. I've never fallen in, but that's what the guy that falls in and dies says. The off-switch wiring is now all much higher up, but it still works. And I can jump up and hit that lever, so it's gonna stay. It all works already. There's no sense in breaking it just to make it a little more convenient. I know I'm trying to fix up the farm, but now it's not supplying iron where it needs to, so I guess I'm running through the sewers. All right, ma'am, everything's good down here. No clog. Here's the issue. My new slab floor was blocking the flow. And now with everything working again, the last step is to lay down some sod. Now I'm gonna tackle the melon farm, because it's big, old, and I'm worried about what's inside. Like your mom. One of the first glaring issues is this water line. It's mostly made of dirt. Really all I gotta do to get this farm functional is move that water line, which is much easier said than done. Oh, no way I'm gonna redo the whole thing. It's on dirt pretty much the whole way to the melon men, but I got it moved and up to code, and now it should all work very well. Now that everything's moved and secure, I got it framed out, but I don't want to go wood all the way down, so I'm doing a design for my melon business. That's a good start, but now I kind of want to move it over. Logo's done. I like it. I'm also going to take some time and renovate the top, because it needs it. Great view from up here. One of the things that this building really needed was an elevator, and now I have one, and I gotta do that roof. Not gonna show the old one. You'll make fun of me. I might go up there from time to time now. Wasn't recording for a day. I've already got the new base for the bamboo farm done. This one's gonna get a much bigger collection system and some other features. Now I've moved my cactus farm underneath the bamboo farm. The old one was just so ugly. It's a really good thing I did this too. Minecraft's updating bamboo soon, so it's nice to have infrastructure. Here's another issue that I totally forgot about. I sealed off my rocket farm. It's behind all the flags. I had to dig my way in. I'll have to figure out something for that. Nah, first I'm gonna do a nice place for the stone cutters to live. And yes, I'm doing granite and diorite, but today was just flooring. That's what I get for doing herringbone. Herringbone is what your mom wishes she had in the kitchen, but your dad didn't want to pay for it. Getting everybody in there wasn't too hard. I'm an expert villager herder. I moved my cobble generator underneath the stone cutters. It just made sense. And now the stone cutters finally have a roof over their head again. Yeah, it came out a little boxy, but it's on the industrial side. Today I ripped up the old cobble generator. It was mostly made of dirt. Then I got real dirty on day 2769. Same thing the next day. Just dirt. All day. In the rain. Then I didn't really get anything done. I kind of just spent today looking at my egg farm, wondering what to do with it. Then a golem spawned. I was hoping moving it all down would stop that. Just put down more green carpet. It's not a huge deal. I've been putting off the library because, well, look at it. Any construction involving villagers is tough. Luckily, these guys can fall pretty far. Really should have done the flooring before putting them all down here. That was an oversight. It took a long time, but now I've got all the librarians into one spot. Unfortunately, they have much less freedom of movement in this design. Oh well. I didn't record for a day, but now it's all looking much more like a building. I installed an enchanting room that doesn't look like it's in a dirty basement. That's an upgrade. I also tried to upgrade the carpet. That just involved a lot of shoving. I'll be honest, I think there's a lot of wasted space in the library, but it's functional, so I can't complain. I think I'll revisit that one later, but for now, it's done. 2777 was all dirt laying, which is kind of nice. Despite being the luckiest day of the series, I had to end this one early. My cat got out. I found him in the the neighbor's bushes, he was fine and got back to it. And now I'm starting on some bear renovations. Here I put in a nice little viewing window for the pandas. The polar bears didn't require too much work, just had to put some more glass in. One thing I've always hated about the panda exhibit is these big jungle trees. Not the trees themselves, but the vines. They just end up hanging down outside the exhibit, and it looks real sloppy, so today I'm trying to get rid of all of them. I can literally fly, and that was still tedious work. A lot of work went into this new panda exhibit. I might actually come visit them now, but I think this little window into the panda cave is still my favorite part. The melon men have been in need of an update since they were constructed. What even is that? I like the idea of them all being in a big melon, so I'm gonna make it look like a big melon. Since building all my iron stuff, I've kind of neglected the melon men, so it's nice to give them a better home. I've lost a lot of them over the years. I started with 10. Now there's only 5. Alright, so now they no longer live underground, but that just means I've got to move a bunch of stuff. One of the things I really wanted in here was a speed farm on the same level. I think I'm good enough to put all the redstone underneath. We'll see. So far so good, and no villagers have been mangled. Probably would have got it all done today if I didn't get a bunch of water in the machine right here. But after another day of troubleshooting, now it's working perfectly. Stay behind the wall, villagers. Employees only. They aren't employees. They aren't even contractors. Put some carpet on top. You can see by that bone and arrow that a skeleton spawned up here. And there it is. All done. You know, it looks like a melon. The orphanage only has to move down 1 block, but this thing that I built is going to be the biggest challenge. Yeah, I just ripped the whole thing out today. I can rebuild it. Moving it all down 1 block actually makes the whole system easier. I don't need pistons anymore. You can tell just by the walls it's now so much more direct. Finally, that part of the building looks like it belongs. I'm happy with that. Everything on the inside stayed the same. I just installed a new front porch and called it a day. And now I'm putting in lights, which tells you that the whole project's nearly done. I'm excited to see it. It's looked very weird with all these glowstone lights just floating in the air. You can see how much different the ground is now by how high up these old lights are. I have to jump, and I have jump boost. Done. Perfectly level. Well, not the inside. I start that tomorrow. I probably should also move that glass. Everything over here looks so much cleaner, and I feel like I have a lot more room for more builds. But like I said, now it's time to do the inner wall. This is going to be some delicate work. Step 1 is I'm going to rip up all the grass. See what's under there. I have no idea. Luckily, for the most part, the answer was more grass. Hey, looks like the giant totem's going to shrink and then grow in the same video. Here I'm just trying to get everything down to grass before I move the lights down, and then I'll work on the buildings. That looks pretty weird, but also kind of nice at the same time. Why do I hear a villager over here? Don't tell me there's one in the floor. Hey, Cleric, I thought you were dead. Well, now you are. It would have been a pain to relocate him. I've got enough on my plate already. I was getting the new lights down today when I noticed something. I did the math and the inner wall isn't a perfect square. It's off by a few blocks, which would make it a rectangle. You know, I had to rip down a lot of the wall anyway, but it's amazing I didn't notice. So now I'm laying out the square and I can get back to being perfect. The new wall's going up just fine, but my bad math has given me an even bigger problem. Every single light is now off and needs to be completely redone. And when I say need, I mean need. I will not survive if my lights are off. All lights on the compound have been eradicated. This is going to be interesting. This darkness goes against everything I've built these walls for. Luckily, I still have beacon powers. These monsters can't hurt me. It doesn't look right, but it also kind of looks nice, not gonna lie. Seeing my land all dark like that gave me a nice idea, so I'm not gonna be putting sea lanterns back in. It's a bit ambitious, but I'm gonna do redstone lights so I can turn them all on and off. I just really hope I don't regret this eventually. Hey, pillagers. Sup? That'll be 1 count of misdemeanor trespassing. Your sentence is death. No way I left the door open. This is bad. I'm gonna lose all my villagers. Oh, I got so lucky. The first wave was stuck in my inner wall. No one got hurt. Except the pillagers, of course. Now I gotta spend a day cleaning up the mess from yesterday. One thing I didn't realize about my warden head is every time I kill something, it's gonna get skulk all over the place. Alright, back to business. I'm gonna put down some torches just for safety until I get this all wired up. It's gonna be a little bit. I've gotta move some stuff, and I don't want a creeper blowing me up. So now I'm just taking my time digging out the trenches for all the redstone wire. I don't know if you ever watched my 100 Days in Creative video, but I learned my lesson there. If you don't take your time with this, you'll pay for it. All of the redstone for this lighting circuit's gonna go on these chiseled stone blocks. I had a bunch of them laying around for the old monster farm, and it's nice to be uniform. Little sad, but got rid of the old piston gate today. It was off by 3 blocks, I just couldn't save it. Everything is done except 1 light, right above the nether portal. Considering all that went into this project, I'd say that's pretty good, but I've still got to fix it. There's really no way around it. I had to drop the whole ceiling, and that just made it all look funky. Just gives me more to do later, I guess. I don't remember why I killed all these donks today. I just thought you might want to know. So before I can wire everything up, I've got to level out the innermost wall, and this is definitely the most delicate. I lucked out. Everything moved down 1 block real nice. Even redoing the first floor wasn't that bad. I was honestly surprised. I didn't even move anything on the walls. It just looks like my trinkets are higher. And now officially, the whole compound's on 1 level. Was it necessary? Not really. Was it notable? Oh yeah, time for lights. There's gonna be one lever in the inner wall that'll turn all of them on and off. Wiring was easy, all the conduits all ready to code, and with 4 redstone to spare, it's all wired. Hello, Darkness, my old friend. Probably should have waited to test until this is all covered up. There's creepers in my redstone. Oh, it's all so unnaturally flat. I love it. Today I'm fixing little things, like that, and this, and those, and these. Fixing the 5-year garden today. I don't know if you've noticed, but I haven't done anything for all the other years. I'll do something big for 10. The nether hub ceiling is just far too low. I've got to gut everything. I downgraded my double spiral staircase for a regular staircase, but at least I don't bonk my head. Just moving over the totems today, and had to end this one early. There was a skunk in my basement window. I had a guy come and get it. He said they were gonna go to a happy skunk place. I know for a fact that skunk is dead. Listen, trespassing gets you death around here. Just getting the wall design down today, you gotta be symmetrical. I needed more redstone, so I went down in the caves and used a night vision potion. It was kinda awesome. I feel like most of the time when I mine, I just leave the redstone there, so I got a bunch. I thought I wanted redstone lights in the wall, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like how they look. So for now, I'm just doing sea lanterns. We'll see if that changes. New piston doors going up today, and unlike the old one, this will be wired efficiently. Oh yeah, kept that redstone tight. That thing's looking slick. These days were all about vanity, but you know, sometimes those are the best days. I liked my front gate so much, I'm gonna put the exact same one in the back. But oh no, the vault redstone's right underneath it. Oh, if redstone could electrocute you, I would definitely already be dead. I curse my past self. It's just a mess down here. It's gonna take some planning. After an entirely separate day, I finally got the back piston door all wired up. Never ever put redstone on grass. You'll regret it. Back gate's looking good, even though I guarantee I'll never really use that thing. I can fly. Speaking of other things I don't really use, I've got to reconnect my old birch road to the compound. I'm getting nearly done, so I rode the rail. It's a great way to see imperfections. See, I almost forgot about those 2 chunks I dug out. Had to reglass those holes. This was the most annoying part. I still have no idea how to make the egg farm look less ugly, but all its innards were broken, so at least I got those fixed today. I'm biting the bullet. I'm just gonna make it a big box. I can always change it later. Yeah, it fits in nicely with all the other big boxes on the industrial side. I almost forgot about my rocket farm. You know, the one that's hidden behind the flags now? I think I have an idea. I got a nice little button hidden inside South Africa. You can barely even see it. It's all connected to a T flip-flop, so you just press the button to reveal or hide the secret entrance. Today I did some measuring, because you might not believe me, but I'm gonna make all this grass emeralds. I'd like to get it all done by 2900, but if I want to do that, I need to use every money-making method possible. I'm gonna use trades, raids, and something you've never seen before. Oh no, he's setting up a room on the industrial side with a cobblestone floor. This won't be good. My current villagers are very efficient. They all do their trades for 1 emerald for whatever item I trade them for. But I don't have that many, and I need a lot more emeralds than these guys can output. And when you need lots of money, nothing beats lots of villagers. That's what these rooms are for. Raids will only get me so far. I have so much iron that I can't even sell it all. But soon, I'll be able to. Thing is, though, the worst part about villagers is when you get a lot of them, they get really, really laggy. So this room, the recycler, breeds them, exploits them, and takes care of them. Listen, guys, it's a video game, and I need to make my floor out of money. I'm gonna fill this thing with about, I don't know, 20, 30 toolsmiths, and they'll all buy my iron. I'm selling everything, even my coal. I'm okay, stop asking. Some of you may be wondering why I don't just build a raid farm, and it's because I like the combat. Now I'm finally starting to get the recycler up and running. I've got to level up these villagers so they'll actually buy my iron. It definitely feels like a waste. I'm used to perfect trades, but with the sheer number of them, the profit's gonna be insane. I can already feel the lag growing. And it's gonna get so much worse. There's so many, I had to build a dedicated disposal system just for all the useless stone tools they throw at me. I was selling so much iron, the price started to go up even with max hero status. I gotta chill. So I figured I'd spend some of the money I've got. I can't do everything, but I can do a section. There is nothing more satisfying than placing pure emerald. 1 quadrant done. And I already love it. Prices are still insane, so I'm gonna get half done. You know, this all used to be a forest. Speaking of money, it's time for some advertising. Prices should be back to normal tomorrow, so I got a level 6 raid in anticipation. The money was great, but you know, I got lots of melons, so I set up a second recycler. The progress seems kind of fast already because I've been saving emeralds for hundreds of days. But I'm telling you right now, if I didn't set up these buildings, I'd be doing this for 100 days. They don't even look too bad. Fit right in on the industrial side. Who wants iron? Come get it. Farmer Recycler's now done. Give it about a week and I'll be trading. I've already spent so much time on this wall killing pillagers. Makes me want to put something artsy on it. Maybe a mosaic or hieroglyphic. Depict acting how great I am. Luke the Notable had a farm, and it was very sad. And on that farm, he had some children. What is up with that? Farmers are getting just about done. This time I even remembered to set up a disposal system for their useless presents. I got a lot of farmers now, and when iron prices go back to normal, I'm gonna get so much money. But first, it's time to spend some more money. I need some motivation. I didn't even have enough for another full quadrant. It's a lot more emeralds than you think, but now I'm driven. I'm setting everything up. Tomorrow, I'm gonna see just how many emeralds I can make in a single day. 2,322 emeralds in a single day. No, I would not like to round up my total for charity. I care not for how many kids are starving, just give me my change. I don't have enough to finish, but I placed more emeralds today. I was just excited. Profits were lower the next day because I spent too much time walking around the finished section. This is now all that's left. Tomorrow, I'll be done. Oh, it's beautiful. It truly is beautiful. All right, villagers, I don't need you anymore. Time to get recycled. I left 2 in each recycler just in case I ever need them again. I probably will. One day, everything will be emerald. It's a little surreal walking around the emerald lawn. It definitely does not feel natural. I rebuilt the diorite road today, pretty much to its old specifications, and then just looked at my land some more. I'm in love. Day 2868, I updated my maps. Obviously, there's a lot of things that have changed. Oh, I love it even more now. Rode the rail just to see if anything else needed a quick change. It gives me some perspective. I got rid of my dolphin cage. It's just ugly and sad. And after all that labor, I gotta get away. It's time to go camping. I flew away from home with nothing until I broke my elytra. I'll keep it as a souvenir. Well, I shouldn't say nothing. I did bring my axe. And tonight, I slept comfortably in this desert town. Camping can be a fun reset. Take myself away from the totems of undying and beacon powers and see what it's like to just play Minecraft. I was feeling the adventure and walked out into the desert without a plan. Of course, then night came. Maybe this wasn't the best idea. I felt much better once I got in a boat. It's one of the safest ways to travel even when you're naked. I'll sleep in this village. That still counts as camping. All I wanted today was just to get out of the desert and Badlands. It's just not great camping material. Hey, look at that. I found a diamond in this abandoned village. On the edge of the desert, I found this really nice sparse jungle. I could live here. I'd set up camp on the top of this hill, but it is getting dark. So I found a nearby cave and figured this was a good time to get some iron and coal. Then I set up a little cottage. Nothing fancy, just some shelter. I gotta say, it was nice having jungle wood. That gave me more to work with. No roof, but it's got a door. It's home. From the top of the hill, I could see some nearby acacia trees, and these will be perfect for a roof. I got all the roofing done by nightfall. I didn't take a look at it, just went straight inside. There's monsters out there. Well, obviously, I was rushed. I'll have to fix that. Oh yeah, it turned out great. I love my cute little camping cottage. So much so, I worked until sunset, making it look pretty. That was a good day. Now I've got food, I've got shelter, I've even got armor. What more do you want? Conquest, I guess. I cleared out the cave underneath my land today. And from the top of the hill, I could also see this massive cave. Might as well go through here, too. It was a very large cave system. Went all the way down to Deep Slate. What I always find I like best about camping, though, is exploring. I found a really nice savannah town nearby. Those are easily my favorite. What's nice is I didn't have to use coordinates to get home. You can see my hill from here. Back in the big cave, just looking for diamonds. I really don't know why, but why does anyone do anything? Didn't find a single diamond in the whole cave. I missed night vision potions already. Then there was more caving, and more nothing. I almost missed it, but I found one underneath some water here. Just one. What a ripoff. It's not like I haven't been trying. Look at this cave. It's explored. I'm not sure what drives me to do what I do, but now I want some enchanted armor. And for that, I need leather, which is cow skin. So in the basement of my cottage, I set up a very simple enchanting room. Then I enchanted everything I have with, I'll be honest, some really bad enchantments. I got a horse. Pretty good one, too. Too bad it can't come home with me. We had a lot of fun together, slaying everything we came across. Today, I set up a sugarcane farm, like I'm even gonna be here for a few more days. I got a little compound set up. What's stopping me from starting fresh here? Nah, I really like being immortal. But this has been very fun. All right, I've got steak, golden apples, enchanted armor. I'm going back in the cave. I want some diamonds. I found a really small mine shaft at Deep Slate level, but no diamonds. Still though, this is all the stuff I found while camping the last few days. I think I did pretty well. And after one more unsuccessful day in the caves, I thought it was a good time to go back home. Ah, would you look at that? My last sunset got stolen by the rain. I had a lot of fun living out here, building the cottage. Not like it's going anywhere. I could always build a portal to it. But now it's time to go home. I've got huge plans and not too much time left. I'm about 20,000 blocks away from home, which sounds like a lot, but if you go in a straight line, it's really not that bad. A lot of my journey was over the ocean, which is always easy travel. I got a little loot here and there, nothing too notable. But by the nighttime of day 2890, I was back to my birch road, which means I'm home. I made a relic out of my broken elytra because I hardly found any diamonds while camping. It felt good to be home and put my armor back on. That's the whole point of camping. But then I got straight back to work. It's time for a huge project. If you remember, at the end of 2,000 days, I failed to get How Did We Get Here, the hardest achievement in the game. And on this little island, hopefully, I'll be doing it again. How did we get here?